Hi, and welcome to this week's Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's Paul here with Dan.
Chris.
Lee.
And a sore throat.
And a sore throat.
I'll just drink lots of coffee and get myself through it, so I'll talk quicker.
You'll be fine.
Short show tonight. Actually, no, it won't be, will it? Jump straight in with what we've got first on the running order, which is Pascal Wehrlein has been cleared to race this weekend.
After Lee's,
Excellent news.
It is
Yes.
good news. After Lee's boyfriend put him into a wall sideways
Yeah, he deserved it.
for being so slow.
Yeah.
No, for being on the same bit of track that Jensen wanted to be on.
And
in
to
your
be
world.
fair, he tried to crash with him in the pit lane first.
It was the team. He was only acting under.
No, it was him.
But
He's-
anyway,
he's
Pascal.
he's in charge of the lights.
Yep.
Pascal has been cleared to race by the doctors. He's tweeted it himself, saying, "Yep, all cleared. Everything's good to go. I will be in the car in Canada." Rumors were flying around that Giovinazzi might be in the car, but there's been some
Well,
sort of
he's
news
kind
about.
of a little bit too busy to be in the car because Haas have got him for a few FP1s this season now.
Yeah,
Is he still
Did I read?
committed to Sauber?
he's Sauber's official reserve driver, but he is a Ferrari Young Driver program driver. He's turned up a lot of Ferrari marketing events in the last sort of 6 months or so, including, I don't know, they're not technically Ferrari, but including Alfa Romeo's launch of their new cars.
Alfa Romeo, who are owned by
Fiat, who own
Ferrari.
Ferrari. Yeah. It's
I
all
don't
part of the same
think-
group.
I don't think commitment and Zauber are two things that are said in the same sentence very often.
No, but I mean, it's good news that Pascal hasn't had a recurrence of the vertebrae injury that he suffered at the Race of Champions, and
which we apologise for taking the piss out of when we saw all the pictures of him in like traction and back braces.
Turns
and-
out he had a spine. Carry on.
he made the right choice. We were ripping it out of him early season, and not for the first time.
Ripping
we
the
got
back
it wrong.
out of him.
Where we were, yeah. not for the first time. We got it wrong.
Yeah.
That never happens. Oh shit! It's just
So
happened
only
again.
once an episode.
Really?
yeah,
I've
but-
just counted two.
But it's more
The second one
interesting.
being the once an episode.
But it's more interesting being the Giovinazzi Haas thing. He's going to take. We don't know whose seat he's taking for FP1s. Whether
Is
it's
Giovinazzi the one that looks like he's been electrocuted?
no, he was the one
No,
who stepped
he.
in for.
Sky have got a picture of him. He's the one that looks like he wants to be a model.
That's good hair. Has he got a little beard as well? Like a little tiny...
Yeah, he's
tickler.
He's got a
Yeah.
tiny beard. Yeah,
Yeah.
He. A lot of people in the Ferrari camp are pinning hopes on him being the first Italian Ferrari driver
So he's going to be rubbish.
since Fisichella. Remember Fisichella only did half a season, and before that, I think the last Ferrari was it. Did we work out a few weeks ago? It was Nicola Larini,
Luca Badoa.
Luca Badoa. He was awful.
Luca Badoa, who was that bad, he was the reason that the last Ferrari driver was Fisichella because
Yeah.
Ferrari went to Force India and said, "Here's lots of money. Can we have your good Italian guy, please?"
yeah.
No, they
Sorry, just quickly, that all like your champion elects that have come up, because realistically, even Max Verstappen, all people were saying when he came up was, he's too young. No one was saying Max Verstappen is the second coming of Jeebus.
Yeah. Well, no one's saying that anyone's Giovinazzi's a
we
future
all
world
know
champion.
we all know that's Kanye
but
anyway.
what I'm saying is, it's been said about Stoffel.
Yeah.
Stoffel is Van Dorn.
He is
And
Verstappen.
not Verstappen.
I think lots of people were saying that about Verstappen in his first year.
No, but when he was in, people were talking
Yeah.
about him. But Van Dorn and Pascal were talked about before they came into
Yeah.
Formula One.
Yeah,
And-
they were bigged up before they'd even actually
and they've
turned the
just
wheel in
come with
anger.
buckets of disappointment.
Yeah.
No, Haas have announced what Giovinazzi is going to be doing. He will be filling in for K-Mag for 6 races and Grosjean specifically at the Mexican Grand Prix.
What just in FP1?
Just in FP1s, yeah.
See, now that rings slight alarm bells for me. If
Kevin
you're
Magnussen.
Kevin Magnussen, yeah,
because
absolutely.
you're new to the team as well. You're new to the car,
Yeah.
and you're the one that's losing the sessions.
Well, yeah, you signed a 2-year deal, and then halfway through your first year, because Haas have got a problem with their drivers being consistently inconsistent.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
cannot get the cars to work both well
Yeah,
at
yeah.
the same time.
Also, I think don't forget, he signed a 2-year deal, but there's nothing saying that isn't an option deal.
There's nothing to say that he's just signed a 2-year deal with Haas as an organisation, and in 2018 he finds himself turning left a lot with some rednecks.
Yeah, no, but
Or he finds himself Magnussen and put in as
Yeah.
a reserve because Giovinazzi's a better race driver.
yeah,
God, who'd have thought? K-Mag getting K-Magged.
And lo and behold, a Formula One driver's contract isn't fulfilled. That could never happen.
I've never seen the like.
No.
This definitely strikes me that Ferrari have got big plans for Giovinazzi and definitely want him to get as much track time as possible and get experience so that he doesn't have the problems that he had when he was racing for Sauber, because he was looking good and then he made rookie mistakes and wrote the car off. But when he was on it, he was looking like he knew what he was doing. So if they can just sort of smooth the bumps out, I guess. Mm-hmm. I think personally he's got a decent future if he can handle the pressure. Obviously, Ferrari is the pressure factory.
Yeah, and I suppose having that looming as well doesn't help anybody. Didn't help Gutierrez.
No.
Yeah, don't tell me how he did in the IndyCar races yet. I've not seen him.
I haven't watched them.
They're still on my Skybox. I recorded them both cars.
See, but we've not given up on IndyCar after the 500 just yet.
Yeah,
We just haven't watched Detroit yet.
Yeah, I just want to make it clear that I couldn't watch Detroit when it happened because it's TT and you have to go out every night during this fortnight. It's the law.
I'll put my hands up. I didn't see Detroit.
Put your hands up, no Detroit.
There was a joke in there.
There was.
It was in
You
there.
had to dig for it.
Yep. Look really hard.
Do you love that city?
Oh dear God! Next thing we've got Robert Kubica back in an F1 car.
Guess who's back?
Robert's
again.
back.
in a Renault / Lotus. It's going to be.
It's the 2012 Lotus.
It's good though.
Renault liveried.
Yes, because it's the Renault show car.
Yeah.
He's a good hand in a Formula One car.
Well, I'll tell you what, this actually bodes well for Robert Kubica. 2012 would have been the last era that he was sort of racing. When did he have his accident? 2010, 2011? Something like that. It was. I'm making him Google.
You know what would really help here?
If I did some research.
Get production notes.
Yeah, don't need them. This is why we do things on the fly. This is why everybody who listens loves us.
We do more things on the fly than a pissed bloke in a pub trying to find a toilet.
Absolutely. But that would have been the last era of sort of
6th of February 2011.
2011. So that would have been the last era of Formula One car that Kubica would have driven. He won't have driven any of the turbo era since 2014. So it bodes well that somebody, I don't know whether he's paid for it or whether Renault were putting him in just to sort of see what he's like, because there are some drivers who have big accidents. Niki Lauda is the first one that springs to mind, and they don't lose any of their speed.
Mika Hakkinen.
Mika Hakkinen, in fact, got quicker.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you talk about people that weren't actually physically impaired.
Niki Lauda sort of was. He was struggled very, very much to get his race helmet on and off.
Yeah, no, but as far as actual limbs and function.
Yeah, sort of
Well, I
cognitive.
think his hands were pretty badly burned
Oh
as
no,
well.
yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But what
Oh,
I mean
no,
is-
he lost something like 35% of lung function, which means that
But
you're
it's
not as
all-
fit, so you're not up to the
but
rigours
it's
of
all
actually driving a
damage that
race.
could heal. You can't lose half your hand and it grow back. Not when you're a mere human. That's and he hasn't. He didn't do WEC, did he? Because he couldn't do the controls. Because he tested WEC and
Yeah.
it didn't work out very well. So this can only be for me is either.
No, he did a WEC test and he was actually faster than the two regular drivers in the team. He pulled out a WEC because it looks like there's Formula One testing opportunities come up and he wants to concentrate on getting back into Formula One.
There's
I
no
can't-
way. Is he? And it's
He's
not,
been away 7 years.
Yeah, and it's not a realistic thing. Renault aren't putting him in the car to test him. No chance.
Although, imagine if they put him in this 2012 car and he puts in some pretty competitive lap
Yeah, but
times.
he won't.
He might.
He won't.
He might. As
He
I say,
won't.
some drivers don't lose their
He's
speed.
worked himself back up to it because he did. He's done a GP3 test. Then he kind of went downhill and tested a Formula E car. and now he.
Or was it the Formula E car he struggled with the
No,
hand
he did a
controls?
Formula E at Donington. He's done an
these.
LMP2 for
His
Delilah.
hand is still attached.
Yeah, no, but
He just
he's
has-
lost motion in it.
He has difficulty gripping completely, I think.
I think he's been in a Formula One simulator, and
Yeah.
at the time did struggle physically with
Yeah.
that.
And it's this isn't me being nasty, but it's not going to happen. I think, and the only reason this is going ahead is either he's paid for it, or it's still some sort of team loyalty towards him from the Enstone team. Either way, I believe all this is to get out of his system.
Could well be.
So.
I can't honestly see him coming back into Formula One
No.
unless he does set the track alight.
It would be very difficult.
Even if he was perfectly fit, no one's going to drop out of Formula One and come back after 7 years of being out.
No.
How old is he now?
Always probably
Well
about,
into his 30s.
yeah, probably about 34 now.
32.
32.
So he'd come back as one of the oldest drivers in the car on the circuit. Rubbish.
Massa did it.
Jensen did it. He's younger than Jensen.
Jensen, when?
Last week.
No, that doesn't count. He was racing last year, and that's just one race.
Yeah, but everyone who's retired recently was racing last year.
That's true. Yeah, but the no, it's just
The
not,
only one who hasn't come back's Nico.
Yeah, well, I don't think he'll ever come back. There's more chance of Jensen coming back next year than him. But no, we're not talking about a few months or a year. We're talking about 7 years.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
too long in my opinion. The only way this is ever going to turn into anything of any substance is if he does go out and puts in like more than competitive times. And I mean not just like, oh well, that kind of lap times we expected him to put in, but you know, like everyone's astonished by how quick he actually goes in that car.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, all right, let's try in one of the turbo era cars. Let's put you in last year's Renault car, for example. And he's ridiculously quick in that.
I'd also argue that he was a good Formula One driver, but he was never Fernando Alonso.
No, but he was always driving for Sauber or Renault.
No, well, Sauber was quite a good car at that point.
He won a race for them.
Yeah.
And he was in with a chance of winning the championship
No,
mathematically at the last race of
No,
the year
I'm not
year.
I mean,
saying-
there was talk of 2011 being his last season in Renault, and he was going to Ferrari for 2012.
Yeah. No, I'm saying he's a good Formula One driver. I'm not fucking strolling him by any stretch of the imagination.
We'll get to that later.
But if Daniel Ricciardo had fell out, or to be honest, it's probably better. Carlos Sainz is probably a better example. If he fell out of Formula One now for 7 years, you wouldn't expect him to come back. I'd say
It's too long. It is too long.
Yeah.
But I think if he was an ex-world champion or even like a multiple race winner, I think there might have been a thing. There might have been the Kimi factor when Kimi came back in, but he's not proven. So he wasn't proven when he was around. So why would you take the risk on him now?
I think
he's old and broken.
what he has proven is that at the time he was capable of putting a reasonable car
Yeah.
in good finishes.
Yeah. No, he was a good.
Probably doing better than the car
Yeah.
should have done.
He was a good Formula One driver, but all I'm trying to say is it's not like Schumacher coming back or someone like you can accept this from world champions to get given that way back
Yeah. I think he is probably closer to the Danny Rick of his day,
Yeah.
isn't he?
in. Yeah, I do. But see, the thing is, I think if he did come back, I just think to waste his seat.
And has there actually been any indication of what the purpose of this test is? Is it just as a show, and Kubica still got some sort of unfulfilled contractual?
No idea. All that they've released is him and Sergei Sorokin will be driving a 2012 Lotus in Renault livery around Valencia.
The circuit or the town?
The circuit.
The actual the circuit.
The
they
actual
use for
real circuit, not the
MotoGP.
circuit. Not the circuit in
They're
the
not
town.
just popping to the supermarket.
Right.
No.
Yeah, because the Valencia street circuit, as I showed pictures to you guys a few weeks ago, is now completely left in ruin, and the bridge even got torched at one point. Somebody set fire to the bridge.
Yeah. I think if he did end up coming back, I think it'd be quite a bad show for Formula One, to be honest. In general,
Hey, could be a great comeback story.
It depends. It depends on how good he is.
He has to be lightning quick. really fast in order to come back to Formula One.
Bearing in mind, you say it's a waste of a seat.
He has to put it in 2016 times in a 2015 car. Sorry,
After 7 years on one day.
Yeah.
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 He'd have to blow Sorokin away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the moment, Sorokin he's got to be favourite to take Palmer's seat from him next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorokin's
Yeah,
been on the fringes for about 5 years now. I remember when he was a Sauber test driver.
Yeah, I mean, Sorokin has now even given up F2 just to concentrate on being the Renault test driver and getting into Formula One.
Yeah.
Well, there's probably people in that team that are actually saying now we should have just put him in the car this year.
Not the ones who banked the cheque from Palmer.
Yeah, well, again, I said before, I'm sure the money comes in handy, but Enstone needed that money. Renault don't.
No, true.
I think at the end of the year last year, Palmer earned his seat for this year.
Yeah.
Start of this year, he's
No.
not yet.
It's a shame. I mean, I thought we'd see much more from Palmer this year, but I think it's.
He hasn't carried his last year's luck over, has he?
I think the other thing to think is he's got a much stronger teammate now as well.
Yeah.
You know, you've got. You were in Hulkenberg. You have that guy, which everyone goes, give him the car, and he'd probably win a world championship.
Yeah.
And Kevin Magnussen is not that man.
Kevin Magnussen is, I did pretty well in a McLaren in my first race. Oh. Oh.
I think the phrase you're looking for is one-hit wonder.
Yeah, one race wonder.
Yeah. What we got next? Oh, yeah, Lance Stroll time. Ha! Right. Okay, so Lee, you are proving yourself right this second to be the opposite of Claire Williams, because she's come out in defence of Lance Stroll.
I'm sure she has.
Go.
Well, all I can imagine is that if she's comparing Lance Stroll in his rookie season to Kimi Raikkonen and Sebastian Vettel, all it proves is that she hasn't watched a lot of Formula One over the years.
Or she's had a lobotomy.
Or she's had a lobotomy. That could.
Or she's gone all Lewis Hamilton.
She's pregnant, isn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, baby brain.
Yes, it's a real thing.
No, I think she's gone all Lewis Hamilton because of his infamous tweet saying IndyCar must be easy if Alonso can get fifth on the grid in his first race.
Which was shot down brilliantly by Virtual Statman by saying...
Says the guy who qualified fourth on his Formula One debut.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Poor Virtual Statman. He unleashed the wrath, didn't he, of all the Formula One Lewis fans.
Yeah.
That wasn't fans, that was fanboys.
Yeah.
There is a subtle difference. Actually, no, there's a difference. It's not subtle. Fans you don't want to punch in the face. Fanboys, I'm relatively pacifist, but yeah.
Burn them.
Says the Apple enthusiast.
I'm not a fanboy of anything. I just like nice things.
Shiny things.
Isn't that what Elton John said?
No, he said I like nice boys.
So he's a fan thing. So yeah.
No, Elton John likes to fan boys.
Or to be fanned by boys.
Anyway, back on.
Thank you, Jacques
Formula
Villeneuve,
One.
for that musical interlude. Claire Williams
Like your
says...
son going down on me.
Yeah.
God.
Paul, you were saying Claire Williams
Claire
says...
Williams, please, while I've still got a voice and we've got a reputation. We haven't got a lawyer yet.
We've got a reputation.
Yeah, I know. We've got an accountant, we haven't got a lawyer. We're missing something here. Claire Williams believes Lance Stroll has been unfairly criticised and should be given a break.
I don't think he's been unfairly criticised. He's been harshly criticised. But
By us, amongst others.
He's had enough breaks, hasn't he?
his performances
Wings.
are way off his teammates. And he needs to get them closer.
And when you look at other debutantes in Formula One in recent years, not that you can compare him directly with Max Verstappen or Carlos Sainz, but everybody else who's come into Formula One has fared better in their first season than Lance Stroll has so far.
That's a good point. Good point.
And the people she was comparing him to, she was saying, well, look at all these DNFs that they got. But these drivers were putting in lap times that were impressive.
I'd also like to say is that these drivers she's comparing them to were getting DNFs when failures were more common in
Yeah.
Formula One.
Oh, yeah.
It is worth pointing out, fourth fastest lap around Monaco last week was Lance Stroll.
Tyres.
He pitted right at the end,
Yeah.
didn't he? Before his retirement.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, that's like the one that does the rounds in the US. That's like hottest man in Maine.
Yeah. The top and bottom of it is when she's comparing him to Seb and Kimi. Every race Kimi finished in his first year, he finished in the top 10. So I think points back then were
Top 8.
top. Was it top 8 or top 6?
It was top 8.
Top 8 was it? He finished 13th, I think, and ahead of his teammate in his first year.
When he was at Sauber. He was a Sauber rival,
I
to
think
start
he
with.
had Nick Heidfeld as a teammate.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Autosport have done anything with the 5-6 drivers that she's comparing him to, their finishing positions in their first 6 races.
Yeah.
Stroll has got 4 DNFs, an 11th and a 16th.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of DNFs in there, but there's a hell of a lot of finishes and finishing in higher positions than Stroll's done. He's only managed to get round in 2 races.
Yeah, but
You know, Kimi finished 6th in his debut, Vettel finished 8th in his debut.
yeah.
He has had very harsh criticism, but
He's had harsh
he's
criticism, but
not shown any results yet.
No.
he's not ready.
No.
Didn't
that is
Ayrton
the
Senna
basics
finish
of it.
second in his first 6 races?
Somehow, and I think she actually did manage to get a grip before comparing him to Senna.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's compared to Senna. He's got like 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 eyes, just like Senna did.
Drives a car, wears a crash helmet.
Yep.
Yep, well, tell me where the difference is.
About 3 or 4 seconds.
Yeah, I think he's a young kid. People forget that. Well, no, we don't.
No.
You don't forget the fact that he's a young kid. And he's just nowhere near developed enough as a driver.
We were made to forget that Max Verstappen was a young kid.
Yeah.
Because he made us forget that.
Yeah.
But don't forget that Carlos Sainz was only a year older than Max Verstappen.
Still is.
Yeah.
Funny that. Hey, maths.
Yeah, but when he came to Formula,
Causality.
yeah, but the shine was taken off Sainz when Verstappen and Sainz joined Toro Rosso. It was Verstappen, the 17-year-old, and Sainz, who was 18, just about to turn 19.
Yeah.
He was the old man.
Well, exactly. He was the old man of the team. It was like, hey, wait a second. Like we got somebody here who's 9. I think he just turned 19 before the start of the season. There's just like you got a guy here who's 19 years old.
Yeah.
And you're taking the shine away from him by the fact that his teammate is 17. There was, Carlos Sainz's first season in Formula One, he was 6 months older than Lance Stroll is now.
Yeah.
Would not have stood up against Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen's performances in that first year, as Sainz was performing as Lance Stroll is now.
Yeah.
That's the way you've got to look at it. You can't look at it and go, well, Kimi Raikkonen might not have finished some races in his first year, and he was a world champion 10 years ago. That means nothing. Do you know what I mean?
If Stroll's doing so much worse than his teammate because he's young and inexperienced, then perhaps he shouldn't be in Formula One yet.
Yeah, possibly.
Preaching to the choir with that one.
He's a good one.
He's going to get sent away next year.
Let's look at Williams for a second. Am I right in thinking that the last good choice they made for a driver was Nico Hulkenberg?
He was
potentially Bottas.
Rosberg.
Potentially Bottas, yeah.
Yeah.
Was Rosberg before or after? I think he
Rosberg was just before, yeah.
Yeah. But this is what I mean. Since Hulkenberg, I realised that they haven't had a car for a few years. But if you look at who they've hired, the likes of Bottas, good shout. He was their hope, wasn't he, for a strong young driver?
Yeah.
But like Barrichello, Maldonado,
Bruno
Senna. And do you know what all these people have in common?
Got cash behind him.
Yeah, or good for sponsors.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
even-
remember that world beating at the time partnership 2009 2010. Sorry, 2008 2009. Nico Rosberg still
Kazuki
learning his
Nakajima.
craft, and Kazuki Nakajima.
Yeah. And like as much as it pained me to say it, like they were after Jensen last year. Again, he's probably a better choice than what they have, but it's not a choice for like to build the team on because it's a choice for sponsors.
I mean, come on,
Yeah.
man, right? I mean, Williams had their 40th anniversary, didn't they? Silverstone this week, and Mark Webber was there. Pastor Maldonado was there. A few ex-Williams drivers were there, and they took the FW. I think it was the FW36 round the circuit at the same time as my Formula One hero, the FW14B. The car that won Mansell the 1992 Formula One World Championship.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fair enough. It's a long time ago now.
Yeah,
But what happened to Williams? Ruthless Williams.
Renault. Renault happened.
Williams, Renault. Yeah, but they hooked up with Renault again a few years later. It didn't work.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't Renault then, was it?
Well, 2011, 2012.
Yeah,
but,
The 2012 Renault.
Yeah.
but that was when Renault was still supplying Red Bull and winning all the races.
That's
and,
true,
And
yeah.
titles. I don't know if Formula One has just moved faster forward than Williams can keep up with, or whether Williams' just philosophy is just constantly looking over their shoulder instead of looking forwards.
just trying to hang in. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't know. You'd think so many teams are saved by the historic winners bonus, and like you'd think Williams, because of what they have, like technology wise, what they sell outside of Formula One and inside Formula One, you'd think they would have the money to take a year, and rebuild and essentially call off 2018.
Just bring the FW14B out of retirement.
Break all the rules, get black flagged at every race, but by God, it'd be great to watch.
Yeah.
Let's not forget, a couple of years back, they were the biggest threat to Mercedes for race wins.
But by default, because Mercedes fucking nailed the engine and they had a half decent chassis with a Mercedes engine in it, and it's proved
And everyone else got it wrong.
Yeah, and when I said when they were doing well that they were only up there because of an accident and they were just going to slowly fall back to being Williams, and once again I was proved correct. It's very difficult to be right all the time.
How's the song go? It's hard to be humble when you're perfect in every way.
Exactly, and I managed to be so modest about it.
There's something that isn't on the running order that I've just remembered. I saw an article about, which you mentioned Stoffel earlier.
Yeah.
There was an interview with Eric Boulier talking about Stoffel Van Dorn and his performances over the first half of the year.
He said it was delicious.
dipped him in his coffee. No, what he was saying was they've been basically taking Alonso's perfect car setup and putting it on Stoffel's car, which hasn't worked for Stoffel because he's got a different driving style.
But that's
And that is what their explanation for why Van Dorn is performing
well. Then
so badly.
all that says
Below
is,
par.
below par. Yeah.
well, in that case, all that tells me is that Stoffel can give little to no feedback about what he wants from a racing car.
Well, he's been saying, this should be a great setup. I'll use it,
Yeah.
rather than, no, this doesn't work for me. I want it completely different.
I don't-
Give me
I-
what Jensen would have.
I don't believe that for a second.
I believe Stoffel's...
I believe he's using the setup.
Well,
Just want to interrupt this bit to apologise to Mike McPherson. Your Stoffels are on the way as soon as Tesco's get them back in stock.
Yes.
it might be complete bollocks, but if that is what the problem is, then they know what's wrong. They'll know how to solve it. We should see him doing a lot better in the next few races.
Stoffel has
That just
a
sounds
driving style very similar to Jensen Button's.
Yeah.
That's why I don't understand why he would be trying to copy Alonso's quite aggressive style of setup. Do you know what I mean? Stoffel's very smooth and very... Yeah,
Yeah.
very Button-like almost, which is why it seemed like a logical move from McLaren to replace Button with Van Dorn. But that it doesn't make sense.
No. And the top and bottom of it is, for me, even with my fucking buttoniest of button tinted spectacles on, Button has never been, or since they got rid of the groove tyres, since the BAR days, which he was a fucking master of, his qualifying's not been great. Just in general, especially compared to his teammate. So the fact that he can miss 6 months, all the testing, come to Monaco, and be 1/10 off Stoffel, is bad.
For Stoffel.
For Stoffel, yeah, of course. Because all that says to me that if Button was in the car and if he'd have been in instead of Alonso, he'd just be doing the same job Alonso's doing with Stoffel.
It's kind of worse for McLaren if Stoffel's not good at giving feedback as well, because
They need it.
they need as much as they can get, and it's kind of worse for Honda as well, because we're saying that Honda are having problems because they're only getting feedback from one team. And at the moment, as far as what they're getting out of the engine in the car, they're obviously only getting the feedback from one driver in one team.
Well, this was one of the reasons that Jensen stayed, wasn't it, last year, was because of the feedback that him and Alonso could give towards the development of the car. Now, they had to put Stoffel in the car this year.
Or lose him.
If he's not performing, and Alonso does stay next year, especially from the pressure Alonso's given to make the car better, do you think there's any chance that Button gets brought back instead of Stoffel while they're still trying to fix this fucking shambles they're in?
Possibly.
Depends a lot on what Button wants.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, logically, it would make sense, but you've got to take logic out of it because it has to be what Jensen wants to do.
And it's also what Honda want to have happen as well. Don't forget how much money they're plowing in. And just to go off on a slight tangent for less than a minute, I think it was something like 26 bikes, Honda-powered bikes, started Superbike race yesterday. How many finished? Honda-powered bikes.
Don't know.
Right, I think it was 26 started. 5.
And they're also the ones that are going pop in IndyCar as well.
And the sidecar race today, the 2015 and 26 Hondas outperformed the 2017 Hondas.
The only thing they seem to be doing well is MotoGP.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I think the
Oh, can I
IndyCars
ju-
going pop isn't really a fair thing because haven't they got about 75% of the grid in IndyCar at the moment?
No, it's not
60%.
It's not quite
isn't
that,
it?
Yeah,
not quite
but
that
It's,
much.
but there's-
it's almost
there's-
50-50, isn't it, I think?
No, I think there's more Honda engines, so you'd expect more Honda engines to go pop.
There was more Honda engines in the Indy 500, but that's a bigger field than every other IndyCar
of
race.
course.
And a lot of the one-off drivers were in Hondas.
Yeah.
And at least in IndyCar, they're either winning or exploding.
It speaks volumes about us in general, this, See, one IndyCar race, experts.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, talking of Honda in MotoGP, I have now found the equivalent MotoGP full kit wanker. I was at the supermarket the other day, came out, there was a Marc Marquez replica even with the number on.
Wow.
Really?
Yes. After seeing a guy wandering around the supermarket in Marc Marquez leathers. We are talking complete full kit wanker.
I saw a full kit wanker the other day, sort of dressed up as Valentino Rossi. Then I thought, full kit wanker. Then I felt a bit bad about it because he was about 6.
Yeah,
I think it's allowed below the age of about 12.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a costume then, isn't
Yeah.
it?
once you hit 13, it becomes full kit wanker. Before
Oh,
that,
no,
it's
you-
dressing your kid up.
No, you can allow. I'd say you can allow up to 15. 13 is still a child.
Yeah, but you got more awareness about what you're wearing.
No, but 13 is still a child. I would quite happily say to someone, go and dress
That's
as
what you
Batman.
told the judge.
No, it's that exactly the opposite. I think you'll find.
I was in a house a while ago, and this kid had
Did they know?
Yeah. I was working, and this kid had a set of Fernando Alonso Ferrari overalls. Yeah, for himself, like small junior size.
Oh, right, okay.
Not
I thought-
actual real
yeah.
Fernando. But he was running around the house wearing Fernando Alonso Ferrari overalls. I was like, fair enough. I didn't think he was a full kit wanker then.
No.
Wasn't wearing the helmet.
No. In hindsight, I shouldn't have punched him. But
Tripped him down the stairs. Lee. I tripped him down the stairs.
broke your leg. Now you're just like Valentino. Moving swiftly on.
Yeah.
That's what Rossi's not doing at the minute.
Next item.
Next item, Chris. You have written down 2017 fastest laps and
yeah.
lap
records.
I ain't got my glasses on tonight. It looked like lap photocopiers.
Yeah, lap photocopies.
Actually, no, this angle, lap potatoes.
Lance Stroll again.
I'm a potato. Basically, I thought it was quite interesting after the Monaco Grand Prix. It wasn't made an awful lot of when Checo Perez broke the lap record. And then I thought about it a bit more, and I looked back at the stats, and I thought...
It's only a 4-year-old or so lap record anyway, isn't it? Because
yeah,
they changed the course
the,
slightly.
changed the course a little bit. But then that got me thinking, lap records, we were told that these cars would be like a lot faster.
4 seconds a lap quicker.
Yeah, they're not quite that fast, are they? Let's be honest. That's got something to do with the tyre compounds being made a little bit harder as well.
Damn you, Pirelli, doing what was asked of you.
But then I thought, I'm sure there was another lap record broken earlier this year, and I checked out, and it was the Russian Grand Prix had lap record broken. Fair enough, it's only been around since 2014. But Kimi broke the lap record for Russia right near the end of that race as well. So that's 2 out of the 6 races that have been broken so far. Now, there's a lot of still long-standing lap records on the F1 calendar going forward. And I'm wondering how many of them are going to make a little bit of a game out of it. So see if you can guess who holds the lap record. And I'll tell you like what year it's from as well. But do we
that
think
Azerbaijan record's been there since the start of time.
Yeah.
that Azerbaijan record is actually held by Nico Rosberg in the one race that they did there.
That he won.
Yeah. That race, that race that he won. So we're going to Canada, isn't it? So we're going to preview the Canadian Grand Prix in a bit.
We are.
Yeah.
So who holds the lap record at the Canadian Grand Prix?
Michael Schumacher.
Paul, do you want to have a guess?
I would probably go for Alonso.
And Dan?
Can't think. It's from about 2007, if I remember right.
It's 2004.
I was close.
Yeah, ish.
I started with the right 2 numbers.
It's Rubens Barrichello.
Is it really?
Yeah, Rubens Barrichello still holds the lap record for Canada with a 1:13.622. Now that's fast.
That is fast.
It's very quick. But even if the cars are 2 or 3 seconds a lap faster in Canada this year than they were last year, not probably going to get so close as 1:13.6. That's an incredibly quick lap.
We are talking Jeff Sharp on Formula Lee times.
Yeah, we absolutely are. So I've already mentioned that Azerbaijan, Austrian Grand Prix, Red Bull Ring. That's a very short circuit. The lap record currently stands at 1 minute 8 seconds .337.
Fernando Alonso.
There was a big gap where the Red Bull Ring wasn't part of the calendar, wasn't there?
Yeah,
I'm thinking
And
Alonso.
it came back with a slightly changed configuration, so it's going to
Yeah.
be since Austria has been back on the calendar.
Well, it's not. It's 2003.
Oh right.
It's the year that they've got here. And Schumacher with a 108.337. Do we reckon that's going to be beaten? Because it was nearly beaten last year.
Yeah, well, it
In
should
that
be.
case, I'd say yes.
I reckon that will go then.
Cars are faster, nearly beaten last year. All the math adds up.
They can hold
Yeah.
the corners better.
New configuration at Silverstone since, 2011, 2012, something
Yeah.
like that. So obviously that record's only been around since then. So that's...
Of course, they're driving
Louis
it the other way
Hamilton.
round this year.
Yeah, going left.
On the left-handed tarmac.
That April Fool got so many people. Still one of the best ones. Mark Webber holds that record. 133.
Not bad for number 2.
Not bad for number 2.
Everybody should have known that was an April Fool when they asked Julian Palmer for input.
Hungarian Grand Prix though, who holds the record there from 2004?
No, 2004.
Schumacher.
Yep,
Yeah,
Michael
it's
Schumacher.
gonna be, isn't it?
119.0. Which again, another short circuit. It's the shorter circuits that we're looking at. I think the records are more likely to be broken on.
Yeah, and although it's twisty, it's not got a lot of high speed corners, which is what the new cars are quick at, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that last sector at Hungary is quite fast.
I would be interested because I don't want to go through everyone on this. We'll look at the other ones
I
close
was,
to
I
the
was
time.
just going to pick
But,
ones out from going forward.
I would be interested to see what happens at Monza this year because that is traditionally the fastest circuit.
Well, who holds the lap record at Monza? Formula One lap record.
I know that Montoya has recorded the fastest ever speed there because he touched 231.5.
Yeah.
But I couldn't. All right, I'll take a stab at him having a lap record as well.
Montoya, Dan?
No idea.
Rubens Barrichello.
Correct. Rubens Barrichello in 2004. Did you read that over the shoulder
Nope.
there? No.
Not bad for a number 2. Hang on.
Montoya actually holds a Malaysian Grand Prix record from 2004.
So that's going to stay where it is then.
Probably, because it looks like this is the last year of the Malaysian Grand Prix, doesn't it? and he also still holds the Brazilian
I
Grand
was
Prix
going
record
to say,
as well.
I know he had the Brazilian
Most of the rest of them are taken up by Kimi.
record. I know he had the Brazilian record.
most of them are taken up by Kimi, Nico, and Seb.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
It was a close shave if somebody else beat him. Hey, somebody had to do that.
But it just goes to show we've had, it's the shorter circuits, the tighter circuits so far that we've had this year.
Yeah.
That have had lap records broken on them. So I think from that you can gauge that the shorter circuits are probably going to have. I mean, what Monaco's
Spa's going to be smashed open.
possibly, yeah. Spa is Seb Vettel, I think, still
and
got the record
it's
on that.
all long, sweeping, like mid-range corners as well.
Yeah.
The other thing I'd mention is they didn't think that the new cars would be much quicker in Monaco.
No, but they were
And
a
they
lot.
were,
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see like some more lap records than you think.
See, Spa's quite an open circuit. Whereas like, at the moment, the consensus seems to be tighter circuits. The lap records are going. So
I think is that just a case of the fact that we've had quite a lot of smaller, like tighter circuits.
well, Russia's quite a tighter circuit, isn't it? There's not
Yeah.
much long straight going on in
Monaco,
Russia.
Australia.
Monaco. Australia, the lap record didn't go, but that's
Yeah.
because it's ridiculous. I think it was that's another Schumi one from
Yeah,
years
yeah.
gone by.
And it's the first race as well. And people aren't really, it's
Yeah.
no one's
And then you got
dialed
Bahrain and China, which are quite open.
Yeah.
Which makes me think Spa's probably not going to be one. Might not be one to go.
I think Spa will be one. I think they're going to be like rocket ships.
Couldn't you?
I think Silverstone might.
You look
might-
at Monza
might
as
work
well.
well.
Then in that case,
What do you
Maybe.
think? What do you think of the chances of the high speed being clocked in Baku on that long straight?
over 230.
Over
mile an hour?
231. Because if the cars have got more speed,
You got to have downforce, though, haven't you? That's the thing.
Yeah, but you'd think if these cars have got bigger tires, which give them more mechanical grip, so they might
So
be able
you
to
don't
run
need
less
as
wing.
much.
and you've got
Yeah.
one hell of a long DRS zone on that long straight as well.
Yeah.
And DRS has proven to be quite powerful in it this year.
Yeah. I think we could actually see possibly the first 235.
Maybe.
Ooh.
That'd be interesting. I just wanted to raise that point. I thought it was an interesting sort of technological thing that's just probably it might the correlation might stop there, but it's just that's what I've spotted so far technologically wise. That Formula One cars, we've been told that they were faster through the long fast corners,
Yeah.
more downforce. Looks like they're quicker on the slower, tighter corners.
What a surprise! All the predictions not coming right.
Exactly.
I think maybe the tyres have got a big thing to do with this as well, because
Might be something to ask Virtual Statman about.
and we thought like next year, like you say, that's when we're going to see more times go, is when they go back to having softer tyres again.
Yeah.
I think that's if you're looking at everything essentially has firmed up a step.
Yeah.
We're losing that, we're losing the ultra softs. The ultra soft times, or the soft times, like the proper real soft times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll also be interesting to see what happens next year when the teams have had a year to get to grip with the new aero regulations and
a year of developing the
and
cars.
how far they can actually push the envelope with regard to can we get away with this part.
It'll be also interesting to see what rules start creeping into change for next year, because if there's anything that we can't accuse Liberty of at the minute, it's hanging about with things they want to change.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think there'll be a big step like it was this year, but I wouldn't be surprised if some of the ideas that Ross Brawn has for the future of Formula One start to emerge coming towards the end of the season.
Yeah, 'cause I
If he
think-
does have ideas and changes to make, I'd like to see him just get them all through and then have it stable for as long as possible.
Yeah.
It's already
Yeah.
been sort of touted that there's going to be no T-wings, no fins
Yes.
for next
Yeah,
year.
that's already a thing.
Yeah.
Which
But when I
is a
say
thing
no
now,
fins,
but
I mean no shark.
the big
fins.
shark things. Yeah.
Not Bottas, and
Bottas.
Raikkonen. Yeah.
Well, there might not be.
But no, I mean the changes that Liberty are making in Formula One this year are they're all coming from Sean Bratches, which
Yeah.
is the commercial side.
Yeah.
And it's 2018 that I think is going to be the Ross. Well, 2018 and 2019 are going to be the Ross Brawn years.
Or
where it's-
2020 when the Concord agreement's renewed.
That's going to be every. I'm looking forward to that because it's going to be a case of
I wonder if
F1 as we know it
yeah.
is finished.
Yeah.
This is better.
Yeah,
F1
this is
well,
different.
Yeah, different. I wonder if you remember when they had that big engine management meeting and they invited previous Formula One, and people like Cosworth went to it as well. I think BMW went as well, didn't they?
Yeah.
I understand it's pretty normal for them to invite engine manufacturers who aren't in Formula One to these meetings.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll invite them to take part in the Concord Agreement.
Well, don't forget, Chase Carey said that he doesn't want another Concord Agreement.
Yeah, and the Concord Agreement's only to do with the commercial rights for the teams anyway. It's nothing. It's not.
It's not regulation.
It's not
based.
regulations. It's not making the rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the team's holdings in Formula One basically as well, isn't it? It's how the teams are anchored within the sport,
Yes.
using the commercial
Yeah,
rights.
but they can't.
So if there's no Concord Agreement in place, all the teams theoretically could just vanish off the face of the earth.
No, his idea is to
level the playing field.
level the playing field, but give the teams more of a share in Formula One, essentially.
Which is the right way to do
It is the right way to do it. But here's the thing: if this, I don't think it's going to take till 2020. I know that's when the Concord Agreement's up, but as I say, Liberty and Americans in general, if we're perfectly honest,
Just getting shit
not
done.
great at waiting. So
They share my levels of impatience.
Yeah, the only problem with that, of course, is the way that things are run at the moment. Chase Carey says, we want to bring this through now, we want to do it now, and Ferrari go, we don't. You're fucked.
Well, as things stand at the moment, but
Yeah.
that's what they're trying to change.
Yeah.
And that can't change until 2020, because if Liberty say, we want to change it so that Ferrari don't have the veto anymore, Ferrari will still be able to veto that decision.
Yeah, and Sean Bratches has said next year is going to be 21 races.
Yeah.
Says, but I'm looking to expand on that. Don't see why we can't have 22.
sneeze warning.
Oh, bless you. Bless you.
Bless you.
Bless
Sorry.
you.
I'm back.
You're back in the room now.
I actually think I pulled a muscle in my left boob.
You're listening to the Anatomy Hour.
But this is the thing, and this is what I'm saying about not great at waiting. I can totally see next year something coming around, or even towards the end of this year, to be honest, where a new deal is sort of put in place. And if it's better, and if it benefits all the teams on the grid, I don't see why they couldn't just turn around and throw the Concord Agreement away straight away and move forward. If everyone's in agreement,
If everyone's in agreement, that's the big if though, because Ferrari do have a reputation of cutting off their own nose to spite the face just because they are Ferrari.
it is a different Ferrari now though. That's the other thing. Whenever we talk about this,
Well, yeah, because Marchioni fired everyone.
yeah, but we always talk about Ferrari as if it's still the Brawn era Ferrari. And I think it's a different team now. I also think it, to a certain extent, it's a team that understands that it's better to work for the many than themselves.
For the many, not the few.
Yes.
British listeners should remember that.
God, blimey. It would be a good idea, but it doesn't come down to the team as in the sporting side of things.
Yeah.
It comes down to Marchioni's men in the boardroom.
Yeah, but I do think it's a different team now, and we don't know. We don't know what these how these things truly work. There's people a lot cleverer than us in that field, and a lot.
There are people a lot cleverer than us in fields scaring
I
crows.
was just going to say that. But the fact that Formula One was sold to somebody else that's now a majority shareholder, we don't even know how that impacts agreements that were put in place before they came in.
Yeah.
So top and bottom of it is if there's a proposal put forward where Chase Carey says we want to do this and this, you will earn more money for it. This is in the way, that will be gone.
We can but hope.
Yeah.
That's all we can do. Next thing I've got in the running order is the Isle of Man TT. It's rained, Honda are crap. That's about it, really.
Are we still talking about Formula One?
Well, yeah, I just thought put a little thing in there. People have been asking us about Isle of Man TT stuff. There's not, up until this weekend just gone, Saturday and Sunday, we didn't have an awful lot going on. We had some running today as well, which is Monday when we record the podcast.
Yeah, we're going to do a TT special podcast, but the weather's been that bad and there's been that little running that we've not actually been able to gather up enough material for like a 5-minute YouTube video.
Like, people are racing without having hardly any practice.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, the TT is a week of motorcycle races around a 37 3/4 mile course
Yeah.
made up of public roads.
Paul should take for the image of this week's podcast, lash that picture of the Isle of Man TT course up with all the other circuits in it.
Yes.
Yeah, because you can fit every circuit that's ever hosted a Formula One Grand Prix inside the TT course
Now,
with room to spare.
One of those is the Nürburgring.
The
Like
Nordschleife.
The Nordschleife.
Nordschleife.
Yeah.
You know, and the old Hockenheim ring.
Yeah, they all fit quite
And-
comfortably.
and-
Nordschleife is what, 8 miles, is it?
Something like
13,
that.
I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. It's a
It was,
fucking...
it was the old Spa that was 8 miles.
Right.
It's basically a go-kart circuit compared to the TT.
Yes.
Yeah, 37 3/4 miles of public roads that get closed and people ride motorcycles.
Yeah, there are
Averaging over 130 miles an hour.
there
Yeah.
are 600 metres of non-public roads that get used.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Governor's Dip.
Governor's Dip and the New Cut Road
Yeah.
into Governor's Dip.
Yeah.
But apart from those 600 metres, they are all bog standard roads. Funnily enough, they're the best tarmac roads on the Isle of Man.
This is another good thing to say. When you look at the Isle of Man and the TT course is big enough to essentially separate the entire island, where half of the island is outside the TT course and the other half is inside the course.
Yes.
Yes, and there is only one access road between the two.
Yes.
Yeah. And yet you can't get to all places inside the course using that access road.
Yeah. The reason that we talk about it is all sort of infringing. It just takes over the lives of practically everyone on the island for 2 weeks.
There's 90,000 people live on the Isle of Man, and then 40,000 people come over to visit in TT
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
If you have a job that involves driving to do your job and you're not involved in public transport, you just take the week off.
Yeah, well,
You know, trade stop.
well,
pretty much.
I haven't, but yeah.
It's just getting anywhere is difficult, even when the roads are open because they're full of visiting bikers touring round. I mean, it's we're not slagging it off. It's great.
It's awesome.
The whole Isle of Man comes alive for two.
We
weeks.
get racing, spectacular racing for free, like right outside your front door if you're lucky enough to live on the circuit, because there's very little restriction with I mean, there are safety restrictions in place, but there's nowhere else in the world where you can sit 3 feet away from bikes doing 180 mile an hour
Down the road that you drive to work on.
Yeah.
Best
We're
free
all
show
off
in
on
the world. It's got to be up there,
It's
isn't
got to be.
Patrick Daly put it best, actually. He sent us a private message on Twitter. I was describing everything that goes onto it. And he said, it sounds like a blue-collar Monaco.
Yeah.
I like that description. Because we
I'm
get the
off on
open paddock as
Friday. I'm off on Friday. We're all off on Friday.
Most of the island's off on Friday.
I'm not.
You're not off on
But
Friday.
it is a bank holiday
It is
for
a
the
bank
Isle of
holiday.
Man at Senior Race Day.
Yeah, we actually get a bank holiday on the Isle of Man because motorsport.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
it's
we're
when we
gonna-
allowed all the old age pensioners to race.
I'm going to try and do a few Facebook Live videos if I can. If I can, I will do a few Facebook Live videos, so keep an eye on the Three Legs
Mark
Four Wheels
Webber
Facebook
apparently
page.
is coming back in the next few days as well, so I'm going to be trying to get to the grandstand and stalk him. He was here last Monday, but it rained.
You'll be fanboying.
He's
Yeah,
coming
yeah.
over with Adrian Newey as well, isn't he? I believe.
I will be after the pair of them with a camera and a voice recorder.
He also said in an interview that Seb and somebody else wants to come over.
There's
Yeah, a couple of Formula
There's a
One
few of them.
drivers.
Damon Hill comes over quite a lot.
He's a motorcyclist
Yeah,
anyway. though.
Toto Wolff was the starter at one of the races last year.
I believe he overtook Chris last year.
Damon Hill overtook me on the promenade
Yeah.
last year. Yeah, on Douglas Promenade, the seafront there.
I'd have followed. I'd have just followed him.
But I didn't have a.
stopped.
Yeah, if I was on a motorcycle, I would have done.
Yeah.
But I was in my little green Ford
I'd
KA.
have broke down in tears going, it wasn't fair. Hungary wasn't fair.
You'll never let that go, will you?
No.
Actually, Damon Hill was tweeting about it the other night. Said the Arrows car was great. Great little car, simple up to a point. Hashtag hungry. But we'll try and get more stuff on the TT on the Facebook page and on the website when we can, when we actually get a chance to
It's just all
see some of
encompassing.
it.
That's just sort of the way it
it's
works.
just there's been the problem with the weather because they can't run in the wet,
Correct.
and the fog because they go up a mountain as well. And if the safety helicopters can't land to pick up injured riders,
Yeah.
you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Back to what we're good at.
Yes, Canada this weekend.
Woohoo! Canadian GP preview. What do you want to do? Team by team,
Not
really.
We can do. We can do.
or can we do? I don't know how. We usually do it team by team, don't we?
Well, that's the reviews. I don't know. I think I've had about 8 hours sleep in the last 4 days. So.
It's quite often one of the most exciting races of the year.
There's plenty of overtaking, polar opposite of Monaco. And I think I remember saying on last week's pod that it's kind of circuit that's got everything going for it. It's got long straights, tight hairpins, tricky sections,
Yeah.
fast corners. So finding a setup might be quite difficult. We've already
It's one of those where you've got to get the perfect balance between
Yeah.
speed, grip.
We've already spoken about how Christian Horner has been talking about how Red Bull are probably going to find it difficult, which means they've already mastered the setup for
they're
to
going to win.
maximise their chances. Well, Danny Rick won his first race at Canada, didn't he? Many drivers have won their first races at Canada. Robert Kubica being one of them, his only race win at Canada.
Yeah.
Lewis Hamilton won his first race in Canada. As I've already mentioned, Danny Rick.
Let's put it this way: if you don't win your first race at Hungary, you usually win it in Canada.
Yeah. I think Danny Rick also won Hungary that year, didn't he? Possibly.
I think you might have done.
Yeah, but the what was I going to say? The Wall of Champions can put paid to people's good runs
Yep,
in
I think
Canada.
this is where we will see Lance Stroll show his championship credentials by sideswiping that one with a vengeance.
Every world champion who's on the grid has bust a wheel or a tyre or their suspension hitting that wall on the exit of the final chicane. So the last two corners are like a tight right-left chicane.
Yeah.
Often taken at speed, which makes the car kind of unstable. Back
They
end
do
kicks
quite
out.
a lot of things at speed in a Formula One race, don't they?
Yeah, but at a hell of a
Anyone would think
speed.
they were in some sort of race.
But the problem is with the chicane as well. You've got to get the line perfectly through there because the curbs have always been very high.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
And all of a sudden you find yourself in midair, and the only thing stopping you from flying into the crowd is that wall.
yeah. And steering wheels don't work when the wheels are not in contact with the ground.
That's kind of the idea.
Steer all you want. Doesn't matter if your front wheels are not on the floor.
Maybe they need like fins on the top of the wheels.
Or, I mean, like
All they
Adrian
need is
Newey
the shark
designed-
fin to act as a rudder.
Or Adrian Newey designed dippy sticks with his yacht. That's not a yacht.
That thing that Adrian Newey is designed for the America's Cup is not a yacht. That is a plane that goes over water.
Yeah.
You know,
is.
it might have got sails and it might have got like winching boom arms and whatever. I don't care. It's, you know, boats tend to go on the water with all the bottom end, the hull,
Yeah.
on the water, not like 3 square inches of carbon fibre while
Yeah.
they're doing 50 miles an hour
Yeah.
I don't
with
remember,
no wind.
I don't remember ever seeing any film of the Titanic where it was just sort of just. Oh no, I do. I was going to say where it was sticking out. of the
I'm
water,
not
but-
going to lie. I checked out for a split second there because I was looking at something on my phone. And I don't know what's going on anymore.
We're talking about how. Anyway.
Yeah, Adrian Newey's yacht hitting
we're
the wall of
previewing
champions.
Canada.
I just see my next shiny as
Oh,
well.
can
Siri speaker.
Can Adrian Newey please turn up on that yacht down the St. Lawrence Seaway? Because that's where the circuit is, isn't it? It's right,
Yeah.
right in the middle of the St. Lawrence Seaway.
Well, it'd have...
It's on an island.
They're kind of sailing in Bermuda at the moment, so we'd have to sort of sail it all the way up from Bermuda and then into the St. Lawrence Seaway.
He's got time.
Yeah, it'd only take about 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah.
So, team by team. We'll start at the back with McLaren.
Double retirement.
Probably.
Well,
Fernando-
Alonso-
Double retirement or do okay.
Alonso's back.
Yeah, Fernando says he's excited to get back to the day job.
Yeah.
He said he's excited about turning right again.
Yeah.
They're going to have massive
Or if it's
fuel
Canada,
problems,
is he excited to be getting back to the job?
Well, no, Lee just made a great point. Canada fuel burning circuit.
Of course, I made a great point. I opened my mouth and words came out.
It is a fuel burning circuit.
Oh,
McLaren are
we're going to be
struggling
hearing
with
lots of lift and coast, Fernando.
You lift and coast.
Yeah. Yeah,
The thing is, if someone says that to you, if you're trying to instruct someone, Fernando, we need you to lift and coast to try and save some fuel. Why don't you lift and coast?
I've already tried it 3 times.
Yeah, you're the worst spotter ever.
Yeah, I'd be like, no response to that, really. I lift and coast. I'm sat on
So's
the
your
wall.
face.
Yeah, Fernando, Strat 6, your mum. Yeah, I think it's a fuel burner, so McLaren are going to struggle because they...
It's a fuel burner and it's a brake burner as well.
Oh, that's Haas screwed as well then.
Yeah. Haas are going to have issues.
That's a Grosjean crash.
Yeah, it is.
Probably into the World of Champions.
Yeah,
Do you know what? I don't think we'll see Grosjean crash. I think we'll see Grosjean getting penalised loads for speeding in the pit lane. Because
Or
the pit,
accidentally going into the pit lane.
yeah, because he's got no choice but to go into the pit lane instead of take that last chicane, and he will go through it at about 120.
He's there could be issues there.
Or crash in the pit lane. Does anybody remember, was it Hamilton who crashed into the back of Raikkonen years ago? At the end of the pit lane.
Yeah, because
Raikkonen stopped but on the green light and Hamilton just hit him.
It's all right. The World of Champions would be the closest thing he's going to get to a World Championship since Kimi was his teammate.
But yeah, it's going to be a struggle for quite a few teams. I think. Obviously, we've got the brake issue for Haas. We've got the fuel burning problems for McLaren.
Yeah. Sauber.
There's that long straight.
And the corners, all the corners.
And the drivers.
Yeah.
There's all that tarmac between the start line and the finish line.
Do you reckon we're going to see Renault continuing
Continuing.
to struggle
Bigly.
bigly? It's going to be a huge struggle.
I think Hulk will do all right.
I think you'll outperform the car. Saying that, wasn't it Canada where Jolyon started to click into gear a little bit last year? Where he started to show...
I think it might have been.
Yeah. So you never know. Joe Po, go.
Go Jopo.
Yeah.
Just
In Vanco.
Yeah.
get it wrong.
Montreux.
Montreux.
No, it's
I
Montreal.
Yeah, but that was the closest we could get. It's closer than Vancouver.
Judging by my Formula One gambling at the minute, I think the biggest loser from the Canadian Grand Prix is possibly going to be me.
Quite likely. So Toro Rosso, I see. They've not performed as we thought they might do, but I mean they've got.
We've
got
got
2 cars in the points at Monaco?
Well, that was Haas.
That was Haas.
No, because Kvyat went out, didn't he?
Yes, that's right.
So-
Kvyat retired.
Kvyat retired because he got a Perez in the trumpet.
Yes.
There's a euphemism for you.
Excuse me
But
there,
we
young
got-
man. Can you help me out? I got a Perez in my trumpet.
We got Red Bull downplaying their chances, and
you
the
s-
engine's got to play into that as well as the chassis a little bit, you'd think. So
Yeah.
probably all the Renault-powered cars will not
Mercedes.
be on it.
You're saying, was it Canada last year where Jopo started to show his form? Would this be the same Jopo that didn't make it out of Q1 and retired on lap 16 with a water leak?
Jopo no-show.
Jobo, no show. I was wrong then.
Mercedes have had Toto Wolff saying that this car,
No, say it properly.
this car this year is a diva. I can't do it. I haven't trained. It's a diva. You think it's a W08 is a diva and it needs to be treated with respect. I think they just built a terrible car.
Is he talking about the car or his number one driver?
Yeah, he said the wob, so it could be anything really. couldn't it?
Are you sure he said wob?
Wob.
Because if not, that's pretty bad.
Well, that's what the car is called, Mercedes Wob.
It is a WOA, it's just that the 8 in the Mercedes sponsor looks like a B.
Yeah, Mercedes Wob. Has anyone seen our Wob?
That's why I don't like Mercedes cars.
Don't say it, baby, because you know it's just not true.
The cars are all silver.
Hello, Jacques.
I am using it for that one.
That's not going out.
No.
Carry on.
I told you, you've broken us.
Yeah, look. Understanding the Mercedes Diva. Can this Wob really win the title?
I think we should
No!
stop saying it.
Just stop!
Dan, what does that say?
Can this W8 really win an F1 title? You know the scissory icon?
I think we might have gone a little bit off track.
We're back to Jopo again then.
No, I was just thinking of like the front end of the grid. Mercedes are already making excuses. So are they expecting to have a terrible race or?
Well, right, so Mercedes are making excuses, Red Bull are making excuses, Ferrari are staying silent, so...
So it's a Ferrari 1-2 about 8 laps ahead of everyone else,
Or Mercedes and Red Bull battling for the win and Ferrari are going, where the hell did they come from?
Do you know what? I genuinely think we can write Red Bull off. Because they're not... they haven't got their chassis game in order. Like we're used to having. We're used to seeing them. Fair enough, if the engine isn't there, the chassis is always fucking up there with Ferrari and Mercedes. But it's not this year. They're the third best car, not because of their engine, because they've built the third best car.
Yeah, but they're not even in the top tier anymore. It used to be Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull were the three sort of breakaway teams.
It used to be Mercedes with Red Bull and Ferrari fighting for second
now
place.
Ferrari have gone to meet Mercedes, and
And Red Bull have gone to meet Force India.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't even think they've gone to Force India. Red Bull are just in Red Bull land.
They're miles ahead of anyone else behind them, but they're miles behind anyone in front of them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I tell you what, they're not going to win a race this year unless something massive happens, because there's always going to be one of the top 4 cars to get in the way of them having a win.
Yeah, the won races last year when the top 2 cars didn't perform, but they've now got more. There's now more competition.
There's now another 2 cars in
Yeah.
the way.
And the problem is Ferrari seem to have the best aero package. They seem to have built the best car.
I'm expecting Red Bull to be mixing it at the top by the end of the season.
If Renault can sort some problems out.
Every year, Red Bull start behind the others and get closer and closer.
Singapore's the only place that I can imagine that might happen. But still now, I just think there's too many weak areas in that car.
Yeah.
So I just can't see it. I think it's like that thing where for them to come good and start battling with the top teams, they need the top teams to, like over the summer break, to just stop. You know, they need them not to develop anything over a certain point.
Well, when it comes to
let them
the
catch up.
development race, the first set of upgrades that have been brought haven't really brought Red Bull to where we thought they would bring them to. Now Christian Horner's saying that, might struggle for the next few Grand Prix, so we're now looking at Britain by the time they get there.
Let's not forget, Red Bull expected to win in Australia. The way they were talking their chances up, and the way the drivers were talking up, I know Danny Ricciardo's fucking My Time thing seems to have disappeared fucking rapidly, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
How much of this is down to their suspension being banned?
It could be all
Because
down to that.
them and Mercedes both were planning to use the trick suspension,
Yeah,
and it got banned and they had to change their plans.
yeah.
And
You
now
really-
Mercedes have fallen into Ferrari's clutches.
If
and
you don't want something banned, don't call it trick.
Well, I think a lot of it's got to do with the suspension because Max Verstappen was saying after Monaco that the mechanical grip's not there. Now, a lot of the mechanical grip does come from the suspension. And if they've had to go back to Plan B, which is essentially a modified version of last year's...
Fucking hate Plan B. Carry on.
It's all right when he does the soul stuff. It's when he raps, it's terrible.
No, just a fucking asshole. Carry on.
And there goes my train of thought straight off a bridge and into the ravine. But yeah, if they've had to go back to what is essentially going to be a slightly upgraded version of last year's, but the car was designed around this year's, the mechanical grip's gone, and they're not going to be able to take advantage of everything that they had worked on that chassis, which was based around the amount of grip from the suspension that they were going to have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what's completely thrown them. The fact that they made an illegal car.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see them closing up quite a lot by after the summer break.
Yeah, possibly. Well, I mean,
The thing
it'll be
is,
interesting, but I think there's just they're too far behind to really mount any sort of meaningful challenge.
the thing is, though, you say that Red Bull stand a chance of coming back after the summer break if the top two teams stop developing and Red Bull carry on with the development. The top two teams aren't going to stop the development for the simple reason that there is a top two teams.
Yeah,
Because-
there's a championship to be had.
Yeah, there's an arms race going on.
Yeah.
And if either Mercedes or Ferrari stop, they're handing everything to the other team.
Unless
But both Mercedes and Red Bull potentially have taken the wrong development track
Yeah.
and need to come up with something new, which you can't do as an incremental upgrade.
No.
You got to do it as, right, here's the new concept,
Yeah.
go with this.
Let's just hope to God it works.
Yeah.
I think the only reason Ferrari would slow down is if they. There's every possibility of this that they smash a hole in the first half of the season, and are massively ahead. Because what is he? Is he 40 points?
25.
25.
25,
Is it
is
that, it's only a race.
Right. If they can smash a hole this in the first half of the season, they might take their eye off the ball because they might think, well, we've got this massive lead, we can start developing for next year as well. Because how many times have we seen McLaren 2008 and Ferrari in 2008, where because of the fucking development war those two teams had
a terrible 2009.
terrible car in 2009. 2009, the greatest year of human history.
I, on a personal level, would disagree with that.
Force India, how do we think they're going to do? Because
It's a tough one.
Force India this season have been good where we think they're going to struggle, and then struggled where we thought they were going to come good.
They should be good in Canada, you think?
They're screwed then.
Well,
Yeah, last.
Perez and Massa, do you remember them having that huge battle a few years ago over, was it third place?
Yeah.
And they took each other out.
They don't need to be worrying about that.
And so Perez is usually pretty handy around Canada, and Ocon is always improving. Constantly, he's like the machine that improves exponentially. You just
And Force India as
He's
a
like-
team
he's-
seem to be improving.
He's like
Yeah.
the 3D printer that can print a better version of a 3D printer.
and just keeps on doing it.
Wasn't that called Bertha?
No, because she made more than 3D printer. She could make anything.
Bertha was the first 3D printer.
Oh God, you're right.
I know. Of course I'm right.
I think I need
You,
to.
you know, some of our listeners didn't watch children's TV in the 80s.
Not,
Or not British children's TV.
not my fault.
Google is your friend.
So yeah, it is a tough one to call for Force India. The drivers should be good. The car's the unknown quantity this time, which is kind of the reverse of some other teams.
I think Force India are benefiting from a couple of teams dropping the ball.
Williams definitely,
Yeah.
and I mean that they are closer to Red Bull than we thought they'd be.
Who Force India?
Yeah,
I mean, Williams' main problem is that small Canadian that they put in their other car, dropping a huge amount of points for the team. There will come a point. I know we've already covered it, but there will come a point where the money and the no points are going to cross over, and they're going to say, then they're going to have to make a decision: which is more important, hemorrhaging points or hemorrhaging cash?
Is he going to have some kind of home advantage this weekend?
Has he ever raced at Montreal before?
Don't think
Will,
so.
will,
'Cause-
will that matter? He's got Canadian crowds there.
And his dad owns most of Canada.
Yeah. Just finding
Can't
that.
buy talent.
Just finding that message that we got from
Nick.
Nick.
Because your home Grand Prix is supposed to be worth 0.2 a lap, isn't it?
So he might be 10th.
Tenths is in points.
That's points.
Until he crashes.
Oh right, okay.
He's a good candidate for the championship war, for the Champions Wall, isn't he?
Yeah, very.
I tweeted that the other week. Virtual Statman was saying, don't write him off. He's got talent, and I said back jokingly, yeah, I can't wait for him to show his championship potential in Canada on that wall.
Not writing him off, but he's not had the best start.
You're not writing him off as many cars as he's writing off.
Yeah.
That's the worry is he's crashy when he's fast, as he proved in pre-season testing. And
But the funny thing is,
there are some
his
fast bits.
His fast isn't particularly fast.
There are some fast bits that turn into very slow bits and then go back to being fast bits again.
At least when Grosjean was fast and crashed in the Lotus, when he was fast, before he crashed, he looked like
was
he could have
very,
actually
very
won a
fast.
race. Yeah. They haven't just dropped the ball, though. They've dropped the ball factory, haven't they?
Well, they dropped the ball and kicked it into a river, and just watched it sail out.
Yeah, but
out of sight.
but it's
And
they've kicked it into a river of money.
Well, they had a guide like just down the river with a net, and they didn't go with net, save the ball, and then the ball just went past the net.
Yeah, because the guy with the net was too busy fishing money out of the river. I think we've kind of killed that point now.
They're the only team that goes panning for drivers.
I found one.
No, Yukon.
No, that's a fool's driver.
That's great. I like that.
Mentioned Haas briefly. God, this really does depend on whether they can make the brakes work.
If they can, Grosjean in the points.
Yeah, it's either going to be Grosjean in the points or Grosjean in the wall.
And if it's Grosjean in the wall, it's K-Mag in the points, and vice versa. Because whatever one driver does in that team, the other driver does the polar opposite.
Except at Monaco.
Where they both got into the points.
One driver
Yeah.
finished in the points, the other driver didn't not finish in the points.
Well, what you get from K-Mag is a guy that just takes the car around, and if happen chance, by the time he finishes, enough cars aren't there for him to be in the points, he's in the points.
Isn't that what they all do?
No, I think some of them race each other
For a win.
Yeah. He just drives around, and then if he's in the points at the end, he smiles. If not, he smiles and goes home.
You make him sound like a 90s indie band. We just do what we do, and if anyone else likes it, that's a bonus.
So basically, what you're saying is, if he manages to stay out of the way of the red shells in a game of Mario Kart, then he'll win.
Maybe not win. Jesus. Let's be sensible about this. We know where he comes from. You can't buy a win.
But no, I think the
Wait a second. I've got a funny feeling all the cars might have a last lap problem. All of the cars have accidentally pitted for wet tyres, and it's a baking 34 degrees out there. Stroll wings.
well, no, it'd be Inters. They're the green.
Exactly.
Crashes on the last lap.
Yeah, leading the race. Nobody wins.
Yeah, Stroll takes part in Formula One. Nobody wins. Anyway, Toro Rosso then. They are so hard to predict this year. Or at least I think they are. Because, yeah, the car looks good. It should be better than it is.
As Dan said before, I think it's just Renault-powered engines. They're
Yeah.
struggling where you've got to put your foot down.
I don't think any of the Renault teams will do particularly well. So, listeners, get down to your bookmaker, put money on the Renault
Bet
engine
bet
teams.
responsibly. Yeah, I mean, you can include Renault in this. Yeah, Palmer's gonna. What's the excuse for going out in Q1 gonna be this week? You know those seagulls that were on the track last year that Vettel nearly hit. Well, one of them took a dump and I slipped in it.
I still say that he has had a lot of mechanical problems. I don't. It's not always just being excuses. He's had very British Formula One driver look.
Yeah. Derek Warwick look.
Oh Jesus! He's gonna be lucky to make it out this season alive.
Yeah, Johnny Herbert look. You're running third. Pull the car in. Why? There's a spanner under the brake pedal.
Some would say Johnny Herbert used all of his luck up in one go.
Yeah, the fact that he could actually still walk.
Up and breathe.
Yeah.
And do the thinking.
I saw.
Careful with the doing the thinking bit. He's not
somebody-
brilliant at
Yeah,
that.
not anymore.
I saw somebody on Twitter complaining about Martin Brundle and Johnny Herbert wearing bright trainers with their slightly smarter TV wear.
Get a fucking grip.
I know, yeah.
Well, Johnny Herbert has to wear trainers because
So
he
does
can't.
Martin Brundle does for his back issues.
Oh right.
And Nigel Mansell's the same. Nigel Mansell will wear a suit and turn up at your blind in trainers because of his back problems.
Did you say he'll turn up at my Valentine's in
yeah.
trainers?
Yeah.
No, if he was
That's exactly what I said.
if he was like attacking
Do I
an
have to book
important
or anything?
issue, like what their hair was doing, I could understand it. But shoes isn't as important as hair.
No, you're quite right. Yeah.
Well,
But in the 80s and 90s, it was.
Maybe. But yeah, no,
Or in
but
the early-
old school.
or in the
What
early 80s,
sort
you had
of-
to be the white socks with the shoes.
what sort of bellend do you need to be to get in touch with a TV company to complain about the footwear of two of their pundits?
Yeah.
I bet
However,
he's,
if you want to complain about Kai Abel's trousers, feel free.
yeah, I bet he's a fucking hoot to have around, that man. I'd love him to be listening, not even wearing fucking socks, mate. Bare feet.
Sandals. Ted Kravitz style.
Yeah.
With socks?
No.
No, to be honest, that sort of man sounds like the sort of person that'd be a connoisseur of a fucking sandal.
Possibly.
And a socked sandal at that.
I think I saw it because someone retweeted it. It may have been Virtual Statman. I can't remember.
I'm not looking that up. I'm
No,
not.
no.
I'm not searching Twitter for trainers. I'll probably get Kanye West's latest range again or something.
Trainers. I want to meet him so I can look in the eyes of pure evil.
So moving back to where we were, I've completely forgotten.
I think we've covered pretty much all the teams.
Yeah. Top 3 heroes and villains.
Trainers.
Top 3. Kimi Raikkonen. Valtteri Bottas. Sebastian Vettel.
You don't reckon Lewis will be up there?
He's usually pretty handy around Canada, but at the moment, with the way things are going for Lewis, he goes somewhere you think he's going to be good, and he just isn't. Hopefully he recovers from his Monaco nightmare, but I just think that Ferrari...
Also depends how much time he's going to be spending hanging out with Bieber again.
Exactly. But I think Ferraris will have the edge, and when Hamilton starts to run a bad luck, it's very rarely one race. It usually spills over into 3 or 4 races.
It's always quite difficult for him to get out of a rut as well, isn't it?
that's
Look
what
at
I mean,
2008.
because of his mindset.
Yeah.
Though he does have the one-off bad races, like Singapore a couple of years ago.
Yeah, where he lost out to, was it Vettel? Or
everyone.
Ricciardo. Yeah. But yeah, my hero of the weekend, I'm going to say the Wall of Champions. I think we're gonna see somebody in the Wall of Champions that's gonna give us a safety car, or hopefully unhurt, of course, but someone in the Wall of Champions is gonna bring out a safety car. They're gonna be stopped right on the racing line with broken rear wheel. Nothing anyone can do. Safety car, interesting race right towards the end.
Yeah, last 10 laps.
Like
There's a sprint race at the end.
Yeah, like we had a Monaco. And I'm not saying Formula 1's boring and we need a safety car to make it exciting, but if that happens, it is exciting.
To be fair, Canada does usually throw good races up.
Yeah.
I mean, even the 24-hour long Canadian Grand Prix, the night of the rain and bird spotting, was still a fantastic race.
That was the greatest race of all times.
Why would that be?
I don't know. I just remember it being.
Who won that one?
Might have been Jensen.
Well,
you know.
wasn't Vettel leading on the last lap, and he was a cert for the win, and then I switched off.
So did Vettel.
In all fairness, I started watching that race 13 miles away from where I finished watching that race. I started watching the race at my mum's house.
And then went for a walk.
No, I then hopped on my motorcycle as I was riding at the time, rode back home, got home. Race still hadn't restarted. Oh, come on, this is ridiculous. And it was one of those. I spent all day on that Sunday waiting for a Formula One race to finish. And it was about, what was it, like 10 o'clock in the evening for UK viewers?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
And when Vettel, you just saw his car just slip a little bit off the track, and Button was just right there, in the right place at the right time. I leapt up.
Oh, I did.
I leapt off the sofa and arms in the air. It was just for me, the greatest Formula One race I can remember.
It's the best Formula One race I've ever seen.
Not just because of the winner, but just the whole, like, coming from the back of the
Twice.
coming from the back to win.
Nearly being taken out by his own teammates.
5 pit stops.
Yeah. Oh, is it like you don't get more drama?
And one of them was a
into
penalty,
sport.
I think, wasn't it?
Yeah. He overtook something like 40 cars of a 20-car field as well. But I'm back. Finish your heroes and villains and stuff.
Yeah.
You've done your hero, we need your villain.
Exactly. Wall of Champions is my hero. My villain, I'm going to say Jolyon Palmer. I'm sorry. I just think it might be him that puts it in the Wall of Champions.
Oh no, Joe Poe.
Right, top 3. I reckon Ferrari have got it, so Vettel first, Raikkonen second, Hamilton third. He'll have an okay weekend, but not good enough to win it. Hero, it's got to come sometime. Lance Stroll.
You said it like you meant it. Did you see that?
Well, it's almost sincere.
I know.
I think this is about the 3rd time I've had him as hero.
I've literally never seen somebody with their ears crossed.
No, he's got to put it together at some point, and I think Canada would be a good race for him to do it, and he might just sneak into the
The
points.
only thing he's going to have to put it together is his mechanics.
No, I'm giving him a chance.
Yeah, grand. So's Claire Williams. She's an idiot too.
Yeah, but he's paying her to give him a chance. Dan's doing this for free.
Charity.
I have a life full of disappointment.
Who's going to be your villain then, Dan?
Villain.
Talking of disappointments.
Lee probably going on.
I like to think I'm always a little bit of the villain.
Either Lee or my bookmaker, I think. But
Lee is actually a sales rep for Nick Heidfeld's World of Disappointment.
oh, you've broken me now.
Dan, you're not allowed to cough during the podcast.
I
We've
know.
had this discussion.
I know.
No coughing.
I've received the written complaint. And
Chris, it's not
filed
the
it.
coffin that kills you, it's the coffin they carry you off in.
Very good. Anyway.
Villain. Verstappen.
Really?
Oh.
Crashy Max.
I reckon we might get a crashy Max and he might take someone else out with him.
Right. I am going for Vettel to win, Kimi second, and Bottas third. Hero, Fernando.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I think we are going to hear some legendary radio messages from him. They won't all be positive and good, but they'll be funny, they'll be sarcastic, and they will be tearing Honda a new one.
Well,
Will he finish?
I don't think he will.
Unless McLaren's updates that they took to Spain with them are good, we didn't really see them in Monaco, of course, then maybe there is a potential for Fernando to be a hero.
It's kind of not McLaren they do the updating though, is it?
No.
No, I think it comes down to the fuel issue, and I think he will wring every last ounce of fuel out of that car, and Probably still won't be enough, but he will give it a damn good go. And he deserves some good luck.
Yeah.
Christ knows he deserves some good luck. Villain, I'm going for Grosjean because we are just going to hear him bitch and moan all weekend to the point where we'll want him to shut his gob before the formation lap on Sunday.
Yeah, grand.
Yeah. Everyone been?
No,
I was
no.
going to say, I was looking at you and you said, oh yeah, that's good. And I was like, right, your go.
I think Lewis will win. I think he's phenomenal around Montreal. Even if the Ferrari is a bit quicker than Mercedes, I think it's that one of those tracks that Lewis finds that extra thing. You know where it gets to qualifying, all of a sudden there's just like half a second in the pocket from fucking nowhere.
Yeah, this circuit might also suit that long wheelbase Mercedes.
It's also he had in the was it last year when he had a bad Monaco where he
2 years ago.
2 years ago wasn't he robbed 2 years in a row?
2 years ago, he had the pit stop thing where he decided that he needed to make a pit stop.
Yeah,
And it turned out to be completely the wrong strategy.
yeah.
And then last year he stole it off Ricardo.
Yeah.
Did he win
last
win
year he won and didn't
Oh, right.
really deserve to.
No, wasn't it Rosberg that won last year?
No, Rosberg was down in...
Seventh.
It was about to come sixth when
that was the race.
When
Hulkenberg
Hulkenberg took him on the last corner, and
Lewis went on his dinky little
Bull's
run.
pit crew won it for Lewis last year.
Regardless, but if it wasn't last year, he had the bad Monaco. But when the pit stop strategy went wrong, he bounced straight back from that, and he fucking ripped Monaco apart, Montreal apart. If I remember right.
Yeah.
I think he'll do that again this year. I think Seb will be second, and Bottas will be third. Hero. Hamilton will be the hero in the manner of which he wins the race, and Stroll will be the villain in the manner of which he exits the race.
Which might be at turn 2 because he'll be there looking at that flag that Nick Scalza has done, which is the Canadian flag with Stroll spray painted on
Yeah,
it.
it looks like some sort of fucking graffiti.
It's the polite way of saying go away in Canada. I'll just Stroll. Sorry.
Walk on by, please.
Are we going to play a game before we go?
Well, we've still got a few more things to do before we go.
I thought it was game time.
Well, yeah, it is game time but we're not going just yet because we've got your game. And,
I know, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
Are we doing...
we've got a Formula Lee update to come as well. And
Do you want to do that first or do you want to do Shunt first?
I think we should do Shunt first. 'Cause, Lee's opened his MacBook and you can hear the choir of angels singing because a MacBook has been opened. Now, how in tune is that guitar? Are we going?
It isn't really.
Oh god, it's been a hard day's night.
Again, I'm unprepared. I'm slacking off with total Shunt tunes lately. I might just make something up.
That should be interesting.
Woke up this morning, had some breakfast, decided I was gonna brush my teeth, then went to work. Then I thought to myself, I've got podcast recording tonight. And then I sat down with this guitar. It's time to find out who's a total shunt.
I hate blues.
So how is the new album coming along, Chris?
Like that.
I feel
No, it's coming
sad.
along a lot better than that, actually.
It's just sapped my energy levels.
That's the idea of the blues, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's to just get everyone relaxed and in the mood for a little game.
Right, hit us with a question.
I feel like I feel like there's about as much hope as Lance Stroll's career.
Are you Lance Stroll?
No.
Damn.
Right.
However, I have 4 pole positions to my name.
Are you everybody but Lance Stroll?
No.
4 pole positions.
Right, so you're not Martin Brundle, you're not Johnny Herbert.
Oh, it could be Johnny Herbert. Did he ever get pole positions?
No. He's tied with Martin Brundle for the highest number of races without a pole position,
Oh, okay.
which means you're neither of those.
That's good.
And you're not Lance Stroll either.
I also started my own team.
Is that clue number 2?
Yeah.
Who started their own team? So we have Graham Hill,
More than 4 pole positions.
Emerson Fittipaldi's brother,
Less than 4, I think.
um,
Prost.
Alain Prost.
Alan Prost.
More than 4.
definitely had more than 4.
Jack Brabham.
You would have thought more than 4.
Bruce McLaren.
Ah, that might be a good one.
Ooh.
Given that it was was it the 40th anniversary of Bruce McLaren's death recently as well?
Yeah.
Frank Williams.
Did he have a race?
He was a racing driver, wasn't he? But I don't know if he did many in Formula One, if any.
Yeah. Eddie Jordan only got as far as Formula 2.
Lee didn't say there were pole positions in Formula One, did he?
No, he
Third
just,
clue, please, Lee.
no, he just said only got 4 pole positions.
I raced in British Formula 3, Italian Formula 3, and German Formula 3.
I think this could be Eddie Jordan.
Eddie Jordan speaks Italian.
I was just waiting for Lee to jump in with Eddie Jordan speaks bullshit.
I was just going to say.
I was going to say Lee wouldn't do
bullshit.
questions about Eddie Jordan because he wouldn't talk about him.
Well, it's
unless-
that's the
Well,
third.
I wouldn't talk about him so fondly.
Do you know what? That's the third clue, and if you're right, that's the best guess that we've got, and it might be the ultimate total shunt win. If you're right.
Shall we go? We've got to go for something.
One question before that: how many pole positions did Eddie Irvine get?
Probably about the same amount.
He didn't form his own team.
No, that's good point. Forgot about that.
He drove for Eddie Jordan. I'm gonna go for it. Are you Eddie Jordan?
Guess what?
What?
No.
Damn.
Good shout, though.
I have 11 podiums and 252 race starts.
Rubens Barrichello.
Wasn't he into the 300s?
Was he?
And what team did he start?
Exactly. Wow, that's
Ooh.
somebody who's had a long career.
Could we be looking at an Andretti?
Mario.
Oh.
Well, there are 6 billion of them.
Oh no!
But
7
Mari-
billion. They've just respawned again.
Mario is the only one who's started his own team.
Never get an Andretti wet after midnight.
Do you get Montoyas if you feed... Not Montoyas, do you get Maldonados if you feed them?
11 podiums from 252 races. That's not a wonderful strike rate in comparison to what you see from percentage wise from Vettel, for example.
Yeah, but it was in the days when there wasn't like one dominant team, mainly because everyone used the same engine.
He's on the 1 year he won a world championship.
Jack Brabham might be a good shout because he was in Formula One for a long time. I'm not sure if he ever was he world champion. I don't think he was he? But 4 pole positions and 11 podiums that from 252 races might not be a bad shout, given the fact that
We haven't said those poles and podiums were in Formula One, have we?
I was just about to say that.
they were in Formula One.
No, I was just about to say...
That
You hadn't said.
You're about to
Haven't
say that you
specified.
hadn't said.
It's Formula One.
Well,
In that case, no, that really would rule Mario Andretti out because he kind of demolished IndyCar for years.
wait. Did Ross Brawn race before he became technical?
We've had Braun, haven't we? Doesn't stop us having him again, but
There must be more than 20 facts about Ross Brawn. I don't know.
I don't think he did actually. I think as a young man, he was engineering and drawing, wasn't he?
I was going to say. I think
yeah,
he
he
was-
went straight to Williams from college.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we have another clue, please, Lee?
You may. I won the German Formula 3 Championship in 1996.
German Formula 3 Championship in 1996.
Can we go back to the first question? Can you tell me the wording of that one again?
Yes. I have 4 pole positions.
Sorry, the second one where you say
How many podiums?
about a team. No,
I started my own team.
doesn't say it's a Formula One team.
No. How many podiums was it again?
11.
Ralph Schumacher.
Who
Brother Ralph.
who started a German touring car team?
Brother Ralph, of course, man of the cloth.
Yes.
if you believe Murray Walker.
You might be onto something with that because he did have he raced under his own team in DTM.
It was 97 when he came to Formula 1, wasn't it, I think?
Sounds about right.
So, German Formula 3 champion, straight into Formula 1 because he's a Schumacher and hey.
Yeah. When do we have to give another guess? Is it this one or the next one?
The next, it's 7, isn't it? 7 usually have to give another answer on.
6,
Yeah.
3, 6, and then the end usually.
Oh, 3. All right. No, you've got another one. You got another question.
Should we
take
take
that-
the
take
next
that
question?
forward? Yeah.
I won the karting world championship in 1991. 1991? Yeah, 1991.
World Karting Championship.
Go with yours.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Are you Ralph Schumacher?
No.
Not Ralph
No.
Schumacher.
No. Wow.
Does Fisichella have his own team in any series?
Yano Trulli has his own team, doesn't he?
He had
And he raced British,
Formula E team, yeah.
Oh
on.
God. I forgot Formula E
hang on,
existed.
British, German, and Italian
Yeah.
Formula 3. May have been 96. What was he already in Formula 1 by 96?
I don't think he was. Right. Let's go for another clue.
Another key clue. I was named after a Finnish motorcycle racer.
Got it.
Yano Trulli.
Yano Trulli.
I'm Jarno Trulli.
Yeah.
Who sent that one in?
Zach.
Again.
Yeah.
Well,
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Zach. That was a good one.
He always sends the good ones. Oh, no, sorry. I think it's a different Zach, isn't it?
Oh no, sorry, it's Zane that usually sends those in.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, was that Zach Henderson?
At Henderson, Zach 18, yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Henderson.
That was a great one. Please
He-
tell me the one of the clues is that I now own my own winery.
No,
Oh.
I'll give you the rest of the clues. I raced for 6 Formula 1 teams.
Mm-hmm.
My best finish in Formula 1 was first. I
At
raced,
Monaco.
At Monaco.
I raced in Formula E, and he's even put question 11 as the Spaffer question.
Oh, yes. Which
It
is...
worries me when people listen to you and quote you. That means there's an army of Lees out there.
Which is what?
It's a Björk song.
If you complain once more, you'll face an army of Lee.
Also, not only this, he's even quoting the rules because he's got in brackets next to it. Doesn't count if they need this one. They use my name in conjunction with poor position. Fuck! Where were the words then? They use my name with the word train caused by my qualifying position in a poor car. Something around that.
Okay, that is the
I
Spaffer
could.
one.
For some reason I couldn't spit all those out in the right way. But yeah, and he did real work. That's why I used his this week, because he sent me the first draft and I sent it back to him saying it's too easy.
2 out of 10, see me.
Yeah.
Nice one, Zach. Well done.
Formula Lee?
Formula Lee. Just as a reminder, it is Canada in the dry in a Mercedes in the afternoon. Somebody pointed something out about Formula Lee with dry sessions. If they are, you get the same scoreboard for any time during the day if it's dry, and the same for wet. So we're gonna have to sort of standardise the times, because the track speeds up, peaks in the afternoon.
Oh, right, okay.
And then slows down again at sunset and in night races. So we're going to have to kind of standardise the fastest time of day for the tracks. Because you could set the challenge for the morning, and you set a time in the afternoon on a faster track.
Yeah, well, we'll just have to do it all in the afternoon.
Or we'll just have to trust everyone. We'll just do it in the afternoon.
No, we've seen the things people have tried to do.
Yeah. So we've had a few entries in, couple of new entrants.
I haven't
as well.
put a lap in yet, I don't think.
You haven't, Chris. You haven't got a legal lap.
No, not yet.
Have you not?
No.
I thought you'd done it.
Right. Jeff Sharp has already put his lap in this one, so I'm expecting him to get even faster. I was joking about the breaking the lap record. Jeff Sharp is actually under 1:13. However, there are prizes running down. All depends on if you've won the download codes before.
Yeah.
So it could be prizes anywhere up to sort of 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place.
Yeah.
So don't let
And that could drop further down as the season goes on.
Yeah, and there are, we're up to 12 prizes in the prize pot for the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still all to play for. I'm just fuming at resident slow Greek Nick Patakis, who is beating me by 1,000th of a second.
I can't remember what my time was, what my new time was.
That's just reminded me as well. He has stickers, and I'm going to try and get some. We're going to do a sticker exchange with Nick Patakis, because he has his racing thing going on.
Yes, he's getting the BMW.
Yes, and I'm going to get some stickers off him as well. For us.
Oh, right, that'll be good.
And also, maybe if some of our listeners want some of Nick's Autosport stickers, they could let us know.
Yeah.
Starting 3 Legs 4 Wheels sticker exchange.
Yes.
Mailbag, what have we got? I've had a lot of questions about when we're doing the live YouTube stuff again. We might do one next week. Mm-hmm. It's just been difficult to do it this week with everything that's going on around TT.
We lose a lot of bandwidth as well.
Yeah.
And also, I think it'll be interesting to get some feedback from the listeners that that don't watch the YouTube shows.
Yeah.
And did you prefer it before we were doing the YouTube
Yeah,
stuff?
let us
or do you
let us
prefer
know.
it better now when we're not doing it?
Yeah, let us know if you like the live stream or if you think the shows are better when we're not worried about the cameras.
Yeah.
And I don't have to sit here pressing buttons and switching between the two cameras all night and monitoring bandwidth and...
Yeah. Or do you think we should do something separate on YouTube? Because that's the way we're leaning at the moment, isn't
I
it?
think that's the best.
I think that's what the thing is. So let us know. Mm-hmm. Drop us a line.
It's as much your podcast as it is ours.
Paul, how can people drop us a line?
You can drop us a line. You can email us, 3legs4wheels@gmail.com. You can tweet us at 3legs4wheels.
I'm at atotalshunt.
At Flood21.
At Danbert.
And I'm at Pablo100. We've got the Facebook page. Just go to Facebook. Look for 3legs4wheels. You will see us on there. I'm just looking for Facebook comments that have come through and mails. Got one from David Foley from Ultraflix, who provide the prizes for Formula Lee.
Hello, David.
Is it in relation to Mick?
Possibly. This is another Mrs. Foley's little boy, obviously. He actually sent a mail saying, do you think if you were to say the word Honda around Fernando at the moment, he might kill you?
There's a likelihood. I think he had to take some time off. I don't know if anybody saw, but he was in New York promoting his clothing brand last weekend.
Would this be the same clothing brand that there's now a lot of emojis for in the official Fernando app?
I would imagine so, yes.
Which I think there's been an update for, and I've not seen the new ones yet, but I'm sure there's probably some IndyCar stickers in there somewhere. Now, De Gasman sent us a message. What would be faster, an IndyCar or an F1 car? Obviously, an IndyCar, as we've worked out, is faster on an oval. But how do we think the IndyCars on road courses, street courses, would compare with F1 cars on circuits?
Like Indy cars around Monaco, for example.
Yeah, because that would be an interesting one to find out. Not knowing a great deal about IndyCar at the moment.
I think the more interesting comparison would be what they were like on the circuit tracks more than
Yeah.
the street circuits. You know, they're like an actual race circuit.
When they do things at like Road America
Yeah,
or...
because the top and bottom of it is they don't have the aero that Formula One cars have.
No.
No, which is why, as you said quite rightfully, the Formula One car would have it nailed through the corners, and to quote a motorcycle rider who's currently in the Isle of Man, any idiot can go fast in a straight line. It's taking corners at speed that needs balls.
Yeah.
Would that be a current motorcycle rider on the Isle of Man who got chucked off his Honda yesterday?
Yes.
I thought as much.
Well, to do a fair comparison, wouldn't we have to draft in some racing drivers to drive the Indy cars?
Oh...
What you could have. All right, here we go. I'm theorizing now. Straight line test. IndyCar versus Formula One car, various different configurations, including one with like no wings.
Well, we've just said that earlier in the show. We said that Formula One top speed record is 231 miles an hour, didn't we?
Which has been curbed ever since then.
And at the Indy 500,
They were doing like
they-
240.
they were
at times.
averaging 230 round a lap.
Yeah.
So straight line speed, I think we can probably say the Indy cars are a
Would
bit
have it.
faster.
Yeah.
Plus, they use 2.2 litre twin turbo, is it?
It is a twin turbo, yeah.
Yeah, whereas Formula One cars currently using a 1.6 litre V6 single
Hybrid.
turbo hybrid.
Temperamental.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Expensive.
So it's
But the whole idea of the Formula One series is to race on road circuits as fast as you can. Whereas IndyCar, it's a mix of the road circuits and of ovals.
Yeah, but
So you'd expect,
different setup, asymmetrical setups as well for ovals and things
yeah,
like
but
that.
you'd expect for the pure road circuit cars, Formula One would be faster because that's all they do.
yeah.
Yeah, the IndyCar chassis has been designed to be a compromise for both.
Yeah.
Either a high-speed oval or something a bit twistier than that.
Let's not forget how well Formula One cars did round an oval. You know, or or a corner of an
I was going
oval.
to say it was only about a quarter of an
Yeah.
oval.
Yeah, you can't call that
No,
oval racing.
I know. It was more of a joke.
Yeah, because it was a right turn.
It was actually. They went backwards.
They went
didn't
backwards.
Yeah.
Did they put the correct tarmac on for that?
Yeah, they had the right-handed tarmac.
Yes, not especially left-handed tarmac.
Do you think-
Been
do you think
drafted
there was,
in from
like-
America for Silverstone this year?
Do you think there was like IndyCar fans that were sat on that corner that the first time a car went around went, no fucking way!
Or backwards.
What?
Yeah, but the problem.
Witchcraft!
Yeah, but the problem was to the sort of hardcore IndyCar and NASCAR purists. Ralph Schumacher ended up facing the right way round twice.
Well, actually, when he had his massive crash, the IndyCar fans were going, now there's something we can relate to. Death.
Yeah, the problem is trying to compare the two just because of the amount of differences that are between
Yeah,
what the cars are made
They're
for.
different series. They're
Yeah.
designed to do different things.
You might as well fucking compare touring cars and LMP1. You know, they're different tools to do different jobs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is better, a tennis racket or a baseball bat?
Depends what you're doing with it.
Yeah.
If you're playing cricket, neither.
And I said I'd play nice with IndyCar now, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lied.
Didn't last long, did it?
Oh, just stick to NASCAR.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, NASCAR does it to itself.
or its family.
Dan's been covering his face quite a lot in this podcast.
For good reason.
Yeah, probably. I will have to edit myself, aren't I? I had a message on Facebook from Kevin Thompson.
Hi,
He is another listener who is going to the Canadian Grand Prix this weekend. It's his first race.
Where's he from?
Awesome.
I am guessing somewhere in the northeast of the US because his Facebook profile picture is the New England Patriots badge. So I'm guessing somewhere around the New England area.
Yeah,
So yeah, northeast.
it's all Spanish to me.
Boston-y.
Right. Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm excited to say I'll be going to my first Canadian Grand Prix this weekend. He's managed to get tickets for the what they're calling the open house on Thursday, where the pit lane's open.
Oh, nice.
Oh, lovely.
So he
Photographs. We want
yeah,
photographs.
get some photos. If you're going to Montreal this week, because we now know that 2 people are,
Yeah.
get photographs, put them on the Facebook page. We'll share those. Anything you see that you want to share with the listeners, let us know. Make us all jealous as hell.
I have a request. If you can meet Lance Stroll, just ask him what the fucking point in him is. Just excuse me, Lance. What is the point
Legendary
of you?
status if you can get that on video.
Yeah, I mean, well, don't forget, Ted Kravitz got his ear chewed off by Lance Stroll's press minder for Williams when he was being too negative towards him
Yeah.
in Monaco, when he was talking about all the famous failures of Williams cars around Monaco, and she was like, we don't want you talking about negative things. Ask about positive stuff.
That was probably the positives.
Yeah. But what Kevin says, I want to get your thoughts on Max Verstappen. I've been a bit of a sceptic, but he's won me over. In Monaco, he didn't do anything exciting at all. He just got on with it, which I think shows he's maturing. I like how he pushes hard and isn't afraid to have a crash, but last weekend he realised the best thing to do was qualify well and then just finish the race. What do we think? And I've got to admit, I agree perfectly, because what Max did in Monaco was exactly what he needed, because the previous 2 Monacos, he's been crashy Max.
And Monaco, there's not scope, there's not the room there to be Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
You need to just be conservative, put in sensible laps, no crazy overtakes, and if you're in a decent car, you'll do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max is the best at crazy overtakes and taking risks.
Yeah.
And it's taken him
You've
till
got to learn when to do it, though.
Yeah, it's taken him till his 3rd Monaco to learn. Don't act like I would at somewhere with a big runoff area.
It's far better to come home in 5th and get some points than it is to end up in the barrier.
Come home in bits.
Yeah.
And do we think we're actually seeing a more mature Max who's still got the Verstappenness about him, but he knows when to switch it on and off?
I think
so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's the other thing as well. Like, not everyone's great everywhere. Monaco just doesn't seem to be Max's playground.
Because it's not fast.
Yeah,
And-
and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just not his. It's just not his day there.
Yeah.
He is great at finding places to overtake where you can't overtake. But
Yeah,
where
Monaco's
the
a
track's
stretch.
1 car wide,
Yeah.
there aren't those places there, as Jenson Button showed us.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's more than 1 car wide if the other car is kind of only on 2 wheels.
No, Jensen could have made that overtake. The problem was the fact that Pascal had his car in the way.
So if Pascal hadn't have tried to defend his position...
If Pascal's car hadn't have been there, he'd have overtook him.
If Jenson was in a tank,
To be honest, I agree. I think Pascal got in Jensen's way a bit.
Yeah.
But again, not to go over all ground, but it's not somewhere he's expecting to be overtaken. But you got to look at him being so slow off that corner.
Yeah. If you're going to do that, someone's going to try and put a car alongside you.
Yeah.
but it is great seeing Max Verstappen overtaking people on
Absolutely.
corners in Spa where you can't
Yeah.
do it.
And in Brazil.
I was
In
just going to
Brazil,
say,
yeah.
Brazil in the way, anyone out there which had questions about Max Verstappen and still has them after Brazil needs a proper talk to them.
Save,
If you wanna
save of the
know-
century.
Yeah.
If you want to know if a driver is the real deal, watch them in the wet.
Yeah.
Your Sennas, people of that ilk,
Hamilton,
Schumacher,
Jensen.
Jensen,
I
they,
wasn't.
they all stand out in the wet.
I wasn't going to
say because it speaks
Verstappen.
Got one from Cameron Hutton, kind of video gaming related.
Ooh.
Well, at least perked up. Which classic cars would you like to see in F1 2017?
Batman.
I think classic F1 cars. Not Lego F1 2017.
Oh,
Oh, God, they'll do that, won't they?
Maybe.
Yeah.
But everything else has got a Lego game. I don't care. To be perfectly honest, the classic stuff is something I've never really been interested in the game.
Which answers the second part of his question, saying,
Novelty, innit?
Yeah.
which says, will Formula Lee use the classic cars for next year's
Yeah,
challenges?
yeah, we'll use them. We'll, if they're there and they can be used in the same way, and there's classic circuits and stuff like that. Especially if there's classic circuits, because what we might end up doing is mixing up the races we do. So it's not
Oh,
all
World
the same.
Hockenheim and an FW14B.
Because
Yes, please.
it's basically we're gonna mix it up from next year anyway, because it just stops people getting extra laps, and people that have got more time to practice, so everyone knows the challenge at the same time.
Yeah.
So that's my plan.
Yeah, should
I'd
print
like to
season
put it
out
out there
in
now. Like, it's nice having like the classic Ferrari, the F2002. Is it the MP44 or the MP46?
I think it's the
46, isn't it? I think they're
thought it was
putting it
4-4.
on.
It's one of them.
I like that they're putting these things into games, maybe with a couple of classic circuits. What I want to see on one of these games is classic season,
Yeah.
where you can choose any of the teams and any of the drivers from a particular year.
Yeah.
Or just do a classic race, for example, Japan 76, when Hunt won the title in the rain.
In the monsoon.
Yeah. Maybe relive that race if you want to. Belgium 91 when Michael Schumacher... 92 when Schumacher won his first race. And Mansell was miles ahead and then all of a sudden wasn't. Just I want to see things like that put into Formula 1. I think that would really bring it.
Do you know what I want to see?
Classic moments.
I want to see is like stuff like the classic cars doesn't really excite me. If it's there, it's nice, and I'm sure I'll enjoy having a crack in the Williams, like Mansell's Williams or something like that.
I think what the classic cars will do is, where circuits have changed with time,
Yeah.
you can compare what a modern Formula One car and a classic one will be like on the modern circuit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's cool.
or the modern Formula One car on an old circuit.
Yeah.
Take a the Williams FW14B around Sochi Autodrome,
Yeah.
for example.
Or today's Silverstone.
Yeah, it's cool. But what I'd like to see is Formula One and the marketing behind Formula One to relax a bit. Because I've actually had a conversation with he's not the developer now, but he was the lead developer on Formula One when Codemasters first took it away.
Yeah.
And I had a conversation with him about this, asking him whether he'd like to put like an active driver market in. And he basically said, yeah, would love to have an active driver market, season to season, where the cars could change order of competitiveness.
Being goodly.
Yeah. But Formula One teams are so precious over the fact that they have Sebastian Vettel and he has to be in a Ferrari uniform. Or
on
they-
that particular
on-
licensed game.
on that particular licensed game, which is bullshit because football doesn't mind. And football teams spend a lot of money on footballers, but if you buy FIFA, you can transfer and buy the fuck out of it because
Yeah.
it's part of the sport. And
But it's part of Formula 1 as well,
exactly,
isn't it?
yeah. So I'd like to see
Which is why my first game of FIFA 16, I actually playing the Ultimate Team thing, and I had Zlatan Ibrahimovic in a Grimsby shirt.
I'd like to see GP3, Formula 2, and Formula 1 with an active driver market that runs through the game as well.
I'd just like to see Grand Prix Manager get the proper official.
That's why you can't have a Grand Prix Manager game.
Yeah.
Because teams were losing the shit because Ferrari engines were turning up in Mercedes. Or in a McLaren.
Yeah.
So.
No, understandable. Thanks for all your messages and tweets and general shows of support this week. As I say, you can get in touch with us any other ways that we mentioned before.
And hardly any comments as well about what we mentioned last week about the... does anyone else think that Monaco should become a non-championship event? So get in touch about that as well if you've had a chance to listen to last week's podcast and have a think about that.
Yeah, the big talking point. If you've got anything for Lee's big talking point, which we haven't had this week.
No, well, we've basically just had a natter this week anyway.
Yeah, I
haven't we?
think with it being this particular time of year, I don't want to harp on about it. We've just kind of thrown the show together tonight because everyone's all over the place.
Speak for yourself. I put the usual due diligence into what I said.
So what did you do with the other 23 hours and 50 minutes of your day?
Stuff.
How's the PlayStation?
She's warm. We can have a drive as well for fucking reviews. So, go and give us some more reviews because they're all good. It gets us noticed more on the podcast
And Facebook
chart.
likes as well.
Facebook
likes, like the Facebook page. We've been stuck on 30 reviews on iTunes for ages as well. If you get a chance, you haven't put a review on iTunes, be honest.
Yeah,
But
good
for
or bad,
people-
we don't mind.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do. Just
Be nice, please.
if you don't like it, you're listening to it. So what's wrong with you? If you don't know how to do it, because this confused me, because I went to leave a review for somebody the other day.
Was it yours?
That was literally about to be my question.
I might have left a review for us.
Do you want me to let me just open iTunes?
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
Lee's review.
Well, basically, you can't do it on your phone. If you've got like an iPhone or an iPad, you can't do it. You've got to use iTunes, which is fucking ridiculous. It's why there isn't like a star thing next to the So even if you don't want to leave a comment, you can just leave the star. So go to your computer, do it, because it makes a massive difference to where iTunes puts us.
And to our egos.
If it's nice things.
Yeah, but I mean, if we get a lot of positive reviews, which is, let's be honest, that's kind of what we're fishing
Paul's
for.
going to give us a positive review right now.
This is from someone who calls himself Lee Drummer 100, and the title of the review is called Lee Super Lee.
He sounds like a very intelligent man.
And he says Lee is very wise, should probably be king of the world.
Anyway,
Moving swiftly on.
no, 'cause positive reviews puts us in a good place on iTunes.
But we're not actually begging for them.
And in a good mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, puts us in a good mood. Puts us in a positive place as well. Gets us
And
higher up and able to produce better podcasts for you.
If you want to drop us 5 stars and leave something that you think's funny, like that genius did, we'll read them out. So go leave us a funny review with 5 stars, and we can read out the funniest ones.
We're really going to suffer after you saying that.
Hey, if they put 5 stars in it, I'm getting all Canadian. If they put 5 stars in it, doesn't matter what they say.
Lee, the cupcake, eh? The other thing is, and this is the begging one, we've got the extra Patreon show. Which you can subscribe to for as little as $1 a month.
Yeah.
Keeps us in all the equipment that we need.
Hookers, Coke, the usual.
Usually
Hookers, Coke, microphones.
microphones, cables, and pop shields.
You've got to use some to beat the hookers to death with.
And there's the hands over the face again.
Oh, yeah, one face but only 2 palms.
Is it time to go, Paul?
I think it is time to go.
He's getting tired.
Yeah.
I am.
But yeah, you can subscribe to the extra show on patreon.com/3legs4wheels.
Which you should do because it's usually hilarious.
It's usually nothing to do with Formula One, and some of it is definitely not safe for work. Why are we all looking at Lee when I said that?
NSFW.
Yeah, warning, contains a total shunt. Thanks for listening again, and we'll be back next week with a review of Canada and whatever else happens in the meantime. We'll see you soon.
Check yourself before you wreck yourself.